Hello and welcome to the RWBY podcast. I am the Fiddler on the Roof, Mediocrity 4.
I would say that this is the greatest podcast in the world, but then, if I did say that, I'd be like the RWBY Soundtracks, writing checks that the actual series can't cash. I am doomed.
Ooh, that stings a little bit.
And it's not an insult on Jeff, by the way. That's an insult to the writers of the show, not an insult to Jeff.
Yes, we'll talk all about that all throughout the... But I don't know if you realize this. So this is actually the second time that we've talked about these specific soundtracks. Back after Volume 4, before Volume 5, we did a podcast talking about Volume 1 and 2. And then we did another podcast talking about Volume 3 and 4. And then we talked about the Volume 5 soundtrack alongside, I think we lumped it in with a couple Chibi episodes. Volume 6, we had like a bunch of new stuff to talk about that day. And then Volume 7, I don't remember ever talking about that soundtrack. And I know we didn't talk about the Volume 8 and 9 soundtrack. So Dude and I decided that we're going to do a redux on all the soundtracks. We're going to do them 3 at a time. And I don't know if you remember this, Dude. When we first talked about Volume 1 and 2 soundtracks, it was just us two. So we're bringing it back, hilarious. Baby.
We're bringing it back.
And then for the other ones, we had to hoodwink a bunch of people, and that's actually how we got Robert onto the podcast.
Is that really how we first got Robert? Damn, that's crazy.
For the Volume 3 and 4 soundtrack. It was also the first time that Kitty appeared, but Kitty had already been, friend of the channel and was already, doing art and stuff for us.
She made the chibis. How can we not love Kitty?
Yep.
They're still with us to this day.
She's still a very, very busy person, which is why I try not to bother her unless I absolutely have to. But yeah, me, her, Floof, and Raymond are all in a group chat. It's actually where 90% of my Discord notifications come from. It's just us sharing memes and art and shit. So without further ado, we're going to talk about these songs kind of in the order that they are on the track listings. We do have them ranked. Dude has them ranked overall, because he's done more homework than I did. I have not re-listened to the volumes 6, 7, 8, or 9 soundtracks recently enough. I only have the first 5 volumes ranked per volume, and of course we're only talking about the first 3 volumes today. So, without further ado, the very first song of RWBY, which is This'll Be the Day, the Volume 1 opener.
It's a fucking banger. We know that this is a fucking banger. Started it off with a fucking bang. Just like the trailer did for RWBY. Which we'll get to that song next. But, I mean, it's catchy as shit. By the way, just for anybody who doesn't like when we're positive about the show, I'm gonna be glazing the shit out of this. Because the soundtrack, let's be honest, I think a lot of people will talk about, will mention, even people that don't really like RWBY, if you can get past the amount of rock there is, and heavy rock and metal there is in the soundtracks, then most people agree that the soundtracks are pretty good. Okay? It's probably the most universally agreed upon thing about the show, from what I can tell. I don't really I haven't interacted with the fandom much, but I do see commentary and stuff like that and what people talk about.
It was once upon a time. I don't know if it still is.
Yeah, I don't know if it still is, but historically the reputation of the soundtracks is higher than that of the actual show. Having gone through all 9 volumes again, and multiple times recently, I've been using most of my free time on this. I would still maintain that, the soundtracks for the most part are generally better than the show. And especially lyrically, they promise a lot more than the show actually delivers, which is what I was alluding to in my intro. A lot of the stuff that Jeff has the characters go through in his lyrics is more deep and interesting and promises more interesting plot points than what the show actually delivers.
And then Volume 9 did in some cases, which is one of the reasons why we're doing this.
Yeah, which is partly why we're doing this, because the more we look at it, the more we look at it musically, artistically, plot-wise, character-wise, Volume 9 is the best volume of RWBY, and it's not even close. So anyway, This Will Be the Day is great. It is partly nostalgic. I will say that right now. It kicks ass. It's butt rock, but it's the best of butt rock. This is the reason why I think this is one of the things that did hype up the show, is that this is a fucking dope song. The guitar riff is fantastic. The lyrics are fine. They promise a very kick-ass show. They are a little bit more general. I will talk about the lyrics. I did analyze all the lyrics as well. There's some good, Jeff always gets some good one-liners in, victory is in a simple soul. I think that's a great line to end the chorus every time and to end the intro. It's the perfect line to end a show intro on, too. I think that's cool as hell. Like that's always like victory isn't a simple soul, and that's when Ruby like finishes spinning her scythe, and that's when she has like the shadow, like the how do you call it, like the background, like her silhouette, the silhouette or whatever that she has. It's fucking perfect, and so that obviously would hype up the show a lot. So it's not the greatest song ever written, but it serves its purpose perfectly, and I still listen to this song. It's great.
This is in a strange class of RWBY soundtracks because you got ones that are like very specific to either the characters or what is going on. Then you have ones that exist more diegetically. This is a song that Ruby is literally listening to on her headphones in the first episode, which the more generalized lyrics work a lot better in its favor. Yeah. We'll be talking about a song, it's in Volume 2 soundtrack that kind of like is in a really weird place because it is also diegetic in the world, but is so specific to the characters that you wonder if this character is secretly loaded and commissioned the song herself.
I'm actually not sure which one that is. I'm curious when we get there. Yeah, don't tell me yet. It
doesn't say that, but I'll say that you will be surprised.
It's in the first 3 volumes, though, right? We're talking about today.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. It is in Volume 2. But there's also just like a approaching danger in the song. Like it fits RWBY's vibe as a show a lot better than any of the other openings. It's not my favorite opening song. It's not from my favorite opening, visually either. In fact, I would say Volume 1's opening visually is far and away the weakest.
Yeah.
I feel like if they wanted to take the route of just having the same opening for all the volumes, regardless of context for what's going on, this song would still work. This song would still work for any volume. It would work better for Volume 1 than it would any other volume, but it would still kind of work for other volumes. To the point where, like, a bit of a pipe dream, I kind of hope they bring it back in Volume 10.
Oh, that would actually be cool.
I think it would fit so well with the hiatus and Rooster Teeth shutting down and going to Viz. Like, I think if they are ever going to reuse an opening for an opening, this is the time. This is the We Are of RWBY songs. We Are is the famous One Piece opening. It's the first One Piece opening that they redo. They redid it for the 7th, the 10th, and then for episode 1000, they did a special version of it. And they constantly reuse it within the show. And during the like really big game-changing hype moments, they will bring back, come aboard and bring along all your hopes and dreams. Dun-dun-dun-dun. But this will be the day fulfills a very similar role with RWBY.
That would be cool. I actually would be okay with that, to be honest. Although, I actually liked Casey's intro, but we'll get there in a couple episodes. But I still would be okay with that, actually. Even though I don't usually go for that. I hate how Disney plays on nostalgia, but I'd be fine with just reusing a song, especially, it's kind of almost like a saving the show. Like, the show is still alive. Like, it's like a Thank God We're Alive song. This will be the day would actually work for that. But yeah, it's good. So, Red Like Roses. So this, I don't have this one ranked like as highly. It's still ranked fairly high. The thing is, I think this one is interesting in that the best part of it is that riff. That little, like, I don't think it's even guitar. I don't know what is, like a harp maybe, but whatever the do 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 do.
I think it's a piano. I think it's just like a high-strung piano or something.
It might be maybe like a modified,
maybe like a harpsichord.
It's not because it's not a standard piano. It's not a harpsichord either, because I've heard harpsichord. Harpsichord has a more plucking kind of sound than that. I studied a little bit of classical music in college, so I know it's not a harpsichord. I love harpsichords, by the way. So I wouldn't say it's a harpsichord, but yes, it could be like a smaller scale piano. It almost sounds like a toy piano, maybe, kind of.
Apparently, it's just an acoustic guitar.
Is it really just an acoustic guitar? Wow.
That's what the wiki says.
Interesting. I did mention that. Either way, that riff is fantastic. That riff makes the whole thing. The rest of it is sort of fine, I'm going to be honest. Like, there's not a lot of lyrics, which is okay. It's just very simple for the trailer. Obviously, the rest of it is more like the background music. Like it is kind of more of a score song. And then the other issue I have is some of the percussion does sound off. Like, you can very clearly tell there's something, it's just not synced up right or whatever. It's not as tightly done as it could be. I'm going to be honest. Like, I know I'm not blaming Jeff because there's a lot of, or maybe I kind of have to. I'm just trying to be nice. But like, if you listen to the song like where it's like the da 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 da. When that starts, it's a little bit out of sync. It's not quite right. So I have to take points off for that because it's just not as professional as it could be. And it just, the rest of it's kind of fine, to be honest. It's not amazing. But that intro riff is so good that I gave it a decent amount of points just because the intro riff is so good. That's like, it's RWBY's theme song, basically. It's tough to say between that or this will be the day, which one's more for theme song.
So we'll get more into it later, but I did kind of cheat with my rankings because I lumped Red Like Roses Part 1 and 2 together, but not just those. So like, unless you're doing this as homework like us, you're probably not going to listen to these soundtracks just first track to last track. Because we live in a streaming era. The age of albums is long dead. So, my favorite RWBY song of all time is the 8-minute long version of Red Like Roses. That goes from Red Like Roses Part 1 to the Players and Pieces Overture. That's the whole like score that plays from the time Team RWBY starts unloading their dust rounds into the Nevermore all the way through the end of the Players and Pieces fight, where it goes into Red Like Roses Part 2 and then ends. So that like 8-minute long just orchestral like symphony is my favorite musical thing to come out of RWBY. And as it pertains to Red Like Roses Part 1, I've always tried to like figure out, why is RWBY's song so sparse on lyrics? Why is there one line that references her, Red Like Roses fills my dreams and brings me to a place you rest, then Weiss, white is cold and always yearning, burdened by the royal test, then Blake, black the beast descends from shadow, and then Yang, yellow beauty burns gold. And then, as I was thinking about Volume 9 and revisiting Volume 1, it dawned on me. This is RWBY telling her mom's ghost about her team.
Almost like she's doing it in Volume 9, basically?
Or in Volume 1, within Volume 1.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, yeah, I misunderstood. Okay, I just do.
Because, like, now that we know a lot more about, like, what's been going on inside RWBY's head this whole time, how she perceives her team and her role within that team, it really made a lot of things click. And one of them, I think I mentioned this in one of my live shows, when I was talking about Dusk Queen, the fan project. Dude, if you haven't watched it yet, I highly recommend it. I would be fine talk about it when it gets more episodes.
Give me the link. I didn't even know about this. What is this? What is this thing you're telling me about?
It's a fan series. It's only got one episode right now, but it's got really well done animation. But I talked about it on my live show when it came out, and I was talking about like music and how like RWBY uses its music as narration. Like, music in RWBY fulfills the same general purpose that narration does in prose. Where, like, the strength of prose is that you can get a lot deeper into, like, characters' headspaces, internal monologue, exposition, world building, all the stuff that you just don't have the time for when you're in a film medium. And RWBY, I think, cleverly uses its music to fulfill a similar purpose. The reason why Red Like Roses Part 2 plays when it does in Volume 1 is because that is the moment that Team RWBY, the teammates and the friends, Team Juniper, are filling the hole left by Summer. So that's all I have to say about at least Red Like Roses Part 1. Because I know I mentioned a lot about Red Like Roses Part 2, but I have more to say about that we can get to when we get there. So next track is the Weiss theme, Mirror Mirror.
I think this one's good. It's short but sweet in terms of the lyrics. It promises a lot for Weiss's character, but I think it's actually accurate to her character. Spoiler alert, Weiss, the lyrics that Weiss gets throughout Jeff's songs are probably the only ones that are actually delivered on. That's one of the things that's nice about her music and her lyrics, is that whatever Jeff says is gonna basically happen with her. All the interesting... The thing with the RWBY soundtracks is they promise a lot of really interesting depth for these characters. And they are very melodramatic, a lot of his lyrics are, which I'm fine with. A lot of the best media is actually fairly melodramatic, and people complain about that, but then when it's done well, nobody cares, right? The stuff for RWBY, her promises do get fulfilled, but you have to wait till Volume 9. Blake and Yang's, no, that doesn't happen. But Weiss's, it actually does get fulfilled throughout the show, so I like that. The music's good. It does start a little slow. The transitions are a little disjointed to me. The intro piano riff is godlike, though. Again, he does get a lot of really good riffs, like the theme riffs that he does. He's very good at that, Jeff. So, yeah, I still like this one. I have this one slightly higher ranked than Red Like Roses on its own, because as a whole song, I think it's a bit better. It's not my favorite. We'll get to... My favorite's not here yet. From this volume.
Again, kind of similarly to Red Like Roses, The only time I ever really listened to the song is one of the songs I put on my writing playlist, which is the full version of its Mirror, 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 Mirror Part 2, and then This Life Is Mine. And so it's very rare for me to listen to the song like on its own. I obviously did for this podcast. I think this song is really good. It is my third favorite of the volume, behind This'll Be the Day and Red Like Roses.
It's actually my third favorite too.
It does promise a lot from Weiss. I'm always down to see more Weiss and more Weiss backstory. Like, I know we had a lot in Ice Queendom, but like, it's still leaving me wanting more because, you know, they haven't done anything to like make me not like Weiss the way they have certain other characters. So I'm always down to just see more of her. And I like that this is a song that actually works as both like a character song and a diegetic song, because Weiss is musical. She is musically talented, allegedly. We don't really see her play any instruments. There's a little bit in the manga where she's like playing piano for a bit. We've seen her sing in Volume 4. We know Jean's apparently heard her sing as well. Not sure when that would have happened. Maybe she sings really loud in the shower. The communal showers that Beacon probably has. Because I don't want to think about the logistics of Beacon's living situation. Because I went down that rabbit hole the other day. I was like, where do they change?
Change what?
They're out of their uniforms and into their combat gear. Because it ain't the locker rooms. The co-ed locker rooms.
They obviously did not think of that, but you know, maybe they're supposed to do that in their room. Maybe.
Yeah, I had a conversation with someone the other day about like some of the logistics of like, where are the bathrooms? We never see like where the bathrooms are. These sorts of characters just always appeal to me. Weiss is top 3 favorite character still. She's most people's favorite, and for good reason. There's a lot going on under the hood, and I think Weiss's persona and her like design ethos and stuff allows us to get a lot clearer glimpses into what is going on inside her head, more so than RWBY, for instance, where it was not at all obvious what was actually going on through her head until she started breaking. But yeah, I dig it.
All right, next one is from Shadows, which is Blake's theme song. And like everything Blake, it is worse than the other theme songs. What a surprise. That's not bias, honestly, because trust me, when we get to some other stuff, as we go through these soundtracks and volumes and stuff like that, I promise you will see that there's a lot of stuff that I like for characters or, you know, stuff that I'm not a big fan of, but I still love the music, okay? So this is just genuinely not amazing. I do think the blend of techno, dance, and rock is a cool idea. The lyrics are really generic sounding, so they're not as interesting as like Weiss's definitely feel more specific to her, for example. And it's just disjointed in a lot of places. I think this one suffers from definitely being more of like a trailer song in that it's trying to be kind of like the background music or score for the trailer, while then also being its own independent song at the same time. And I think it kind of suffers from that. So like the hook is still good, but as a song, if you're listening to it on its own, it doesn't really sound like a song, to be honest, and so it just feels a bit disjointed. So it's not awful, but it's my least favorite so far. It's not. I don't think it's the worst one of the volume, actually, but
I do. It is at the bottom of the Volume 1 list for me, and I don't hate it. I do like a lot of the song. I think it's really weird that they have the intruder identify yourself as part of the actual song. I never really understood why they did that. But whereas like Red Like Roses and Mirror Mirror, and as well as Gold, which is the next, not the next song, but it's coming up here.
It is the next one. Actually, Gold is the next one on the list.
Yeah, those songs keep getting enhanced the more we find out about these characters, the more we find out about their situation. From Shadows is the only one in all of Volume 1 that got worse. I actually had this like middle of the road as far as Volume 1 songs go when we did this, 5-6 years ago now.
The funny thing is, I have no idea. I forgot we did that. I have no idea where I ranked anything.
I'm pretty sure I'm the only one who had them ranked. Because I had the Volumes 1 through 3 songs all ranked long before YouTube. Because I like making lists of things. From Shadows actively gets worse because of the whole, Faunus Princess angle that they ended up going with. And the fact that, this is a Blake song, but it's also an Adam song.
Yeah.
And Adam kind of just sucks.
He does indeed.
bit of a funny story. I'm pretty sure I've said this before. I did not watch the trailers until either Volume 1 was getting ready to end or Volume 1 was already over. I had completely forgotten that the Faunus were a thing before the Blake reveal. I completely, memory hold Velvet. I had memory hold the mentions of the White Fang in the Volume 1 premiere, and I had not seen the Blake trailer. Had I seen the Blake trailer and then seen the White Fang stuff, I would have predicted that Blake was a cat girl. But I was missing that very important context and not really paying attention back then because I wasn't really into RWBY yet. And so that kind of took me by surprise. But this song is a lot about what we are supposed to think about the Faunus plight that the show never really delivers on. So very briefly, on the actual volume tracking list, after From Shadows is the trailer version of I Burn, I don't know why they have that there. I don't like the trailer version as much. It works well for a final trailer, but it should not be on the soundtrack before the actual version of I Burn. It should not take primacy over the actual version of I Burn, but it does, and it's just really weird. I don't know why they did that. But after that trailer version is Gold, a song that nobody really has decided what the context for is yet.
I think it's pretty obvious that it's Yang talking to RWBY. I thought that was pretty agreed upon, actually.
I thought it was too, but then people started posting it with Summer and Yang and Tai and Yang. And
what?
Both of them with RWBY and Yang.
Just because people say things doesn't mean they're right about it.
I mean, yeah.
So, anyway, it's pretty obvious when you actually frickin' read this that it's very obviously supposed to be Yang to RWBY, and I have this pretty highly rated, mainly off of how fucking great the lyrics are here. This is one where, and again, I don't really like Yang, and especially, more recently, having watched through the series again, and I might dislike Yang as much as I dislike Blake. I still think this is great. This promised so much. This is one of those ones that promised something that we never really got. It has some of the best lyrics, I think, in the whole, all the soundtracks, I would argue. I think the music is okay. It's not the best. I do like the blend of dance and strings. I don't know if the music is specifically supposed to contrast the lyrics, because the lyrics are depressing as shit. They're very melancholic. They're not super emo necessarily, but they are very melancholic when you listen to them. I love the way this works, though. I'm trying, if I'm interpreting it positively, like saying it's good, the positive sound of the song is supposed to represent Yang trying to spin things positively for RWBY, and she's just overcorrecting. I feel if you listen to the lyrics on this song, Yang is trying so fucking hard to convince RWBY that things are okay and that it's okay that both their moms are either dead or went to get cigarettes and never came back, that she's actually probably trying to convince herself just as much as she's trying to convince RWBY. If you actually listen to these lyrics, don't worry, I've got you, nothing will ever harm you. I'm close by, I'll stay here through all things I will be near. Close your eyes, don't you cry, love's all around you, in time you'll fly. That is all, that sucks that, a sister who is only 2 years older than her feels like she has to say that, right?
It's only really sad in context when you, think of it as a Yang song. Which is, again, I think that is the best way to look at this, is as a Yang song, and Yang trying to, step up and be the maternal figure for RWBY. As we kind of find out in Volume 9, Yang both gives her too much credit in some things and not enough credit in others. In Volume 2, she says something RWBY was too young to remember it, or she didn't really know what was going on at that time. I think RWBY did.
Oh, yeah.
I think RWBY did and just bottled it up. And Yang was, so kind of stricken and blinded by her own grief that she wasn't able to see it until, Volume 9, when it was kind of almost too late. But I love the idea that Yang's actual base characteristic and the thing that is the core part of her character and kind of her default is this kind of bitter, angry, angsty person who likes to get in fights. And this whole positive, bubbly, pun-spinning, jokey character that she plays was something she basically invented for RWBY. We don't really know that, but that's kind of my take on this, especially with the whole everything you need is all I have for you. Whenever you need a friend, never far behind. Let's have everything, nothing we cannot do. Every heart just beaming, every sky turns blue. And then, of course, the chorus, don't you worry about the dark, I will light up the night with the love in my heart. I will burn like the sun, I will keep you safe and warm, like the smell of a rose on a summer's day. Man, if that isn't Yang trying to be Summer.
Yeah.
Like the smell of a rose on a summer's day, I will be there to take all your fears away. With the touch of my hand, I will turn your life to gold.
Yeah, she's compensating. And you know what? That makes sense given the situation and everything. So I think this is pretty I like it. I think that promises, if we had gotten more of this side of Yang, I think the show would have been a lot better. Let's just put it that way.
Like, I like that Volume 8 did have Yang and RWBY beefing a little bit. I wish that it was done from a more sisterly angle. Like, I know I mentioned this before, where, like, Yang should be feeling, like, guilty, and should be feeling anxious that, like, so much of her identity that she's built for herself for 10 to 12 years, like, 10 plus years, is being stronger than RWBY. And being there for RWBY. And defending RWBY. And fighting RWBY's fights for her. And then seeing her step more and more into her leadership role and further, like, relegate her to the sideline and show that, like, oh, she doesn't need her big sister anymore. Like, that's the angle they should have taken it if they were going to have them beef.
And maybe, you know, they should have had Yang care about RWBY being mad at her, not if Blake is mad at her.
Yeah.
Fucking idiots. And this is coming from somebody who's all about romance and that kind of bullshit. So if I'm saying that was stupid, and I'm a Bumblebee shipper, so if I'm saying that shit's stupid, you know it's fucking stupid.
You know that gets worse. Like, I didn't think about this when we were recording that episode, but, like, the Volume 9 Crossroads, where the literal, like, thunderstorm dictates that Yang resolving her tension with Blake is more important than figuring out what's going on with RWBY.
You know, the funny thing is, the more we see it, the more I see why people complain about the rest of her team not being there for RWBY. But if you watch the whole series in a row like I did, I watched it all within like a week, it actually makes sense because that's how they've always been. So it's no different than they've ever been treating RWBY. So it actually makes complete sense within the context of the show. It would actually have been weirder if they started caring about her too much, honestly. That would have actually that could have been bad. Now, obviously, should they have cared about her more throughout the entire show? Of course they should have. But it's still an issue with the show, but it's not a specific issue with Volume 9. And Weiss does actually notice something's wrong with her. She doesn't do much about it, but she does actually point it out. She's the only one who really does. Yang kind of mentions something. But it does make sense, actually, that they don't do much for her because they've never thought of her ever having these kind of problems. They've always just blindly thought she's going to be fine and she's got this. She's taking care of everything for us. So they're always in the passenger seat when it comes to RWBY. They're like, they've lulled themselves into laziness, basically. That actually makes sense based off of what we've seen throughout the show. It's probably accidentally good writing, but it still actually makes sense. But yes, is it a problem throughout the entire show? Of course it is. Of course it fucking is. There's still a major issue with the show. I'm not trying to say the show's good. I'm just saying Volume 9, actually, that it makes sense for Volume 9. Anyway, moving on to I Burn. This is actually my least favorite song in the soundtrack. I could see absolutely putting From Shadows below this. I think those are the two weakest ones. And no, it's not because they're the two weakest characters. Remember, I was just glazing gold, okay? And that's the song from Yang's perspective, and I thought that was amazing. So, no, it's not just because it's a Yang song. I think the lyrics are the worst ones. You could argue that From Shadows has worse lyrics. These are just so generic, and they don't really fit the character Yang is at all after the trailer. Yes, I know this was supposed to be used during the trailer, but still, I'm not saying it's a bad song. Again, it's just they don't make sense. They're very generic tough girl bullshit that only sort of fits Yang, to be honest. It's not anything super special. There's no really good hook in this one either. That's the other thing. Jeff usually has some cool hook or riff or something for most of his songs. He's pretty good at that. There really isn't one for this one. So that's kind of my issue with this song. I'd actually say the rap verse is actually the best part. And that shouldn't be the best part of the song, considering that that's not the main part of the song, it's just the bridge. So yeah, it's kind of whatever. Not definitely one of my least favorite ones.
Yeah, it falls into the same exact trap that so much of Yang stuff does. We talked about this with her outfits. We talked about this with her in Ice Queendom. We talked about this with her as we went through Volume 9 and the character rankings and the best moments stuff. They just don't know what to do with Yang a lot of times, and this song is just another tally on that board. I like the song. I do. It is the third worst in Volume 1, in my opinion, but there is a lot that I do like. I like the poppy dance club aspect. It's kind of nonsense, and it's kind of just words, not really tied together really with a thematic core or anything. Other than just Yang's a badass. That's the only real takeaway from the song. Yang's a badass. Well, we would hope so. It's an action show, and she is one of the 4 main characters. Kind of hope that your 4 main characters are all badasses in their own way. And I do like that they are all badasses in different ways. I've always appreciated that about Team RWBY. I don't know anything more about Yang revisiting the song than I did when I first listened to the song in Volume 1. It hasn't actively gotten worse like From Shadows has, which is why I have it above that.
Because it was never good in the first place. That's the problem. I think that's the issue, is that it was never good.
Alright, and then after that is I May Fall, which is, a lot of people love this song, and I just never really got it. My opinion of this song has improved drastically. It is now my 5th favorite song on the Volume 1 soundtrack, but it was my 2nd least favorite for a long time.
It's actually my 6th favorite for this volume, but I still like it. I did a rating system where I did a possible score of 100 points for the songs, because there were so many songs I gave I May Fall an 86. Most of them are pretty highly rated, by the way, because honestly, I think Jeff's music is pretty good. And a lot of times his lyrics are very good, so most of these songs are good. There's not a lot of bad songs on here. So this is all relative to RWBY songs, of course, but I think musically it's pretty good. It does start a little dull, I will say that. The intro is not one of Jeff's better intros. He's actually usually really good at intros, by the way, but it just kind of starts kind of slow, there's a day when our hearts will be broke. It's a little bit it's just a little, it doesn't hit that hard. But what I do love is the galloping, the double bass beat that they do in the chorus is really cool and fits really that works really well. The hooks are really good. I think the music does actually fit with the defiant positivity of the lyrics, so the lyrics and the music do go well together. I wouldn't say they're the most special lyrics, though. So yeah, I think it's just a rock song that people like. It doesn't have the meaning that a lot of other songs have. It's not super high. But in terms, did I put it on my RWBY playlist to listen to? Yes. Did I put every song on? No, I didn't. I skipped a lot. But this is one I did put on there because I do enjoy it. But no, it's definitely not the most special in terms. It's not the most meaningful. And it's not the catchiest either. But it's solid. It's just, this is one of the most solid Jeff Williams rock songs you can think of, I think.
So there's a term that gets thrown around when it comes to certain shows or stories. Hope punk. I fucking hate it.
This isn't punk, though. This is not punk.
RWBY is one of the shows that gets brought up a lot when people talk about hope punk, which isn't a real thing. God damn it!
No, it's not. It's not.
The whole idea of oh man, but they're staying so optimistic in the face of war. That's how you do drama.
Yeah, what the fuck are you talking about? That's just normal.
It's literally drama is literally keeping a smile on your face at hard times or being a massive fucking bitch when times are good. That's what creates drama. Especially when it's an action show or a fantasy show where you got literal monsters and superhumans involved. I would hope that the victory feels a little earned, which is what I May Fall is all about. It's all about there's gonna be death and destruction and pain and suffering, but we're gonna stay strong through it all and keep on going, keep moving forward. That was Monty's mantra, for whatever it's worth.
Tropes exist for a reason. There's nothing wrong with trying to be... that's what you're supposed to have. This is one of those things fiction is supposed to do for people, is teaching people that you can be positive in the face of adversity. That is something that's a good message. Okay? I don't have a problem with that message at all. I don't know why people are complaining about that. Also, this is not fucking punk music.
They're not calling, this song specifically punk. They're calling RWBY as a whole hope punk.
Oh, you mean hope punk is in steampunk? Is that kind of what you mean?
No, again, hope punk isn't a real thing, so I can't really define it.
Okay. I just don't like that term because, like, if you're thinking punk as in like steampunk, I guess I kind of get that. Or cyber. Okay, I guess is it along the lines of like cyberpunk and steampunk, that kind of thing? Or is it
Sure.
or is it more along the lines of the music?
More so with the story and the style and the tone and stuff.
Okay, then then never mind. I retract my complaint then, because that does mean more like steampunk or cyberpunk. Then I'm assuming. Okay, that's fine then. Yeah, I guess it does fit that. I suppose, but like, I feel like.
I mean, if anything does, it's RWBY. But like, this is what Google says. Like, hope punk is a subgenre of fiction conceived as the opposite of grimdark. Like, so it's the opposite of grimdark, which grimdark is like an actual thing, but it's also not, because nothing is truly grimdark. Like, there's always going to be some glimmer of hope, because having a little bit of hope is actually how you make the horribleness even more horrible, because that's what gets you invested. That's what makes you give a shit about how bad things are.
Honestly, I would say RWBY's kind of a blend of both, to be honest. I wouldn't say it's completely hope punk at all. They've killed enough characters that, but anyway, it didn't really matter. Let's talk about Red Like Roses Part 2, because it's fucking great. It's the best song on this fucking soundtrack. That's my number one for this whole entire first 3 volumes. It might be my number one for the entire series. I'm not sure. I'm going to need to give more listens to other songs from the rest of this, from all the soundtracks. But this, to me, is Jeff Williams' magnum opus. It's the edgy, angry RWBY that we thought we were going to get when this show came out. And we never got that until Volume 9, and then we finally got that version of RWBY in Volume 9.
Like I've been saying since Volume 9 came out, like, this didn't just come from nowhere. Like, this was kind of always there, if you knew, like, what you were looking for, or if you knew the signs. Red Like Roses Part 2 is the song, like Lindsay Jones has said this, like, Red Like Roses Part 2 is the song she listens to in order to get in character.
Yeah, if that says a lot. I remember that. That says so much about RWBY's actual character, knowing that is what the voice actress listens to get into character. She's not actually that positive person. She's always been a person pretending to be positive or trying to be positive. And that's something that, in fairness, the show could have done it. Could the show have done a better job conveying little cracks or moments where she, like, her face breaks or something like that, and she lets her guard down a little bit, to at least to the audience? Yes, that would have been nice. I agree that would have been nice.
She does around Jean. Like, that's one of the reasons why, like, I love those two together so much, is, like, Jean is the only one she's, like, willing to be vulnerable around. Everyone else, she always puts up this front, gotta stay positive, smiles all around.
So anyway, more about the song. I will always consider Jeff Williams' lyrics to be as, if not more, canon than the show is, to be honest. And so when someone tells me that Volume 9 RWBY was bullshit, which a lot of people complain about, there's a lot of things you can complain about the show, but Volume 9 RWBY being bullshit is the dumbest take. From now on, when someone tells me, or I see that someone says Volume 9 RWBY is bullshit or out of nowhere, I am just going to silently tap the sign above me that says Red Like Roses Part 2, bitch. Because that's all the proof I need. Plus, it's okay to be as edgy as RWBY is in the song when you are a kid who loses a parent. And it really speaks to RWBY's attitude throughout the entire show. But in the middle of this madness, I'm the one left to win this fight. Yeah, that's true. I made a sacrifice, but I love this line. This is supposed to be from Summer Rose. I made a sacrifice, but forced a bigger sacrifice on you. That is also correct. That's a great line. And then Summer begging RWBY to not do the same thing that she ends up doing. But of course, that's exactly what RWBY ends up doing throughout the entire show. And then my favorite line, actually, because I don't know why I never noticed this before. I was like literally 2 weeks ago, years old. And I've listened to the lyrics and read the lyrics before. I don't know why I never remember this. Every nightmare just to close is, it's your blood that's red like roses.
Oh, that's the part that always hurts me.
I don't know why it took me this long to figure that out.
Like, every time I listen to the song, like, that one always stings. Like, I literally this is the only song I will literally listen to people's reaction to. Every couple months or something, I'll be like, Red Like Roses Part 2 reaction, or RWBY Volume 1 soundtrack reaction, because I keep looking for people to notice how fucked up that is.
That is a fucked up line, and it's great. And it's like, oh, yeah, well, okay, yeah, RWBY wasn't actually this positive the whole time. Shit. I will admit I was dumb enough to miss this line for fucking 10 years or whatever. Was it more than 10 years? More than 10 years now. Holy shit. It's like 12 years that I've missed this line.
Her color palette is a bloodied and blackened version of her fucking mom's outfit.
Yeah. So yeah, RWBY's always been an edgelord, okay? She's an aura farming edgelord, we know that, alright? Yes, they could have characterized her a little bit better throughout the show. I will fully admit that more than ever. But it doesn't mean Volume 9 RWBY's out of nowhere. It fits her character really fucking well. Yeah, the music is also probably the best that Jeff has ever done too. It's super relentless, but not rushed. It matches the lyrics perfectly, and it's also catchy as hell. Like, there's so many good riffs in here. I think if this song is the reason why people thought RWBY was undercooked for so long, honestly, I get it. If your reason for thinking RWBY was a little bit boring throughout most of the show's run, honestly, if this is the reason you give me, then I have full sympathy for you, and I will say valid argument, sir, and we'll move on with our day, because I get it, honestly. The more I listen to this song, the more I watch the show back now, much older, 12 years older, whatever, 10, 12 years older than I was when I first watched the show. I'm starting to ignore the people that think RWBY's a bit undercooked until Volume 9. I will still say Volume 9 RWBY was amazing, but yeah, and this song is be why I think the more I think about this, Jesus Christ, if we explored more of this aspect of RWBY earlier in the show, and they just honestly just cut out Team Juniper and Oscar completely from the show, God, the show would have been so much better.
Because I was wanting to bring this up too, I'm going to put that in a practical term. There's this bit in My Hero Academia where they all have to pick hero names. It's just part of their curriculum, because as heroes, they're basically independent contractors, and so they have to have like a hero name for branding reasons. RWBY has a very similar premise. In fact, I think people don't give RWBY enough credit for doing it before My Hero Academia did, because My Hero Academia, the manga, started around the same time that RWBY Volume 2 did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, RWBY Volume 1 came out in 2013. My Hero Academia's manga started in 2014. Even though they hit a lot of the same beats and a lot of the same ideas and a lot of the same themes, RWBY kind of did it first. My Hero Academia did it way fucking better. But, My Hero Academia is one of my favorite anime of all time. But, there's this whole part where they're picking out hero names, and this character, Ida, he's debating whether or not he wants to take the name Ingenium. Because Ingenium was his brother's hero name, and his brother got crippled to the point where he can no longer be a hero. There's this whole, internal conflict with him where he doesn't feel like he's worthy of the name Ingenium. RWBY, the series, every character has an emblem. It's never really called attention to. The only time that anybody's symbol is ever called attention to is in Volume 9 with RWBY's, where she holds up the penis like this is a mother's promise. That's the only time anybody's emblem has ever actually come into play.
Also, I love how heartbreaking it is that she's willing to give that up because her mom didn't actually hold her promise. That's why she's willing to give it up.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking about that. Well, I was just thinking about, the idea of, hey, what if in Volume 1 there's an episode where they have to design their own emblems? And have that be, maybe Yang and Weiss, they've already figured theirs out because theirs is just adapted from their families. Yang's is very similar to Ty's. Weiss is obviously just the Schnee logo. Maybe Blake came up with her own because she kind of knows how Huntresses are and was, preparing ahead of time.
Because she writes Shadow the Hedgehog fanfiction on the site, so.
Yeah. And then you could have, a scene where RWBY is holding that pendant and just is deep in thought about, making this her emblem, and have her, go up to Yang and be like, is it really okay? Is it really okay for me to be like Mom? Have a moment like that. And you could have, in Volume 1, and you could have, addressed a lot of the stuff and set up stuff for later on. And
had moments of Yang actually being a fucking sister.
Yeah.
That too, maybe. Either way, do we both agree this song's a fucking masterpiece? Yes, I think we do.
Yes. I already said that my favorite RWBY song is the 8-minute version of Red Like Roses that mashes it all together. Even if you just take Red Like Roses Part 2 and isolate it, it would still be the best song in all of RWBY, in my opinion.
Yeah, I probably agree with that. I might change my mind the more I listen to some other songs, but I don't think so. I think this will still probably remain my number one. As of right now, it is my number one all-time RWBY song. It's fucking amazing. Again, but it is one of those things. Why I made this was probably my most relevant, podcast intro joke. It does promise more than the show actually delivers for the most part until Volume 9, and I think they could have done more with that. But still great. Still built up hype for the show, that's for damn sure. Alright, so moving on to Volume 2.
No, there's one more song on Volume 1. It is one that I always forget about. It's the credit song, Wings, which is the Blake and Weiss song.
The fuck? I didn't even listen to that. I didn't even know that was on there. It wasn't listed when I was, or at least I didn't notice that it was listed when I was going through all the fucking stuff.
It's not great. I mean, it's fine.
Okay. Okay.
But it's kind of like mopey. I can never figure out if it's Blake talking to Weiss or Weiss talking to Blake. The second line, like, patience is hard to find, shadows seem to fill your life. That's very Blake. But then later on in the song, like, 12 hours is a long night when you're searching with no hope in sight. That's Weiss. That's literally like the 12 hours from the Volume 1 finale.
Yeah. Damn, I gotta listen to that. I didn't even... I don't know if I've ever heard this song.
It plays during the credits of Volume 1.
Okay, but I don't know if I've actually listened to the full thing.
And they for whatever reason, on the official track listing, it's on the other side of a couple remixes.
Oh, that's why. Jesus Christ.
Like, you have Red Like Roses Part 2, and then you have like an iBurn remix, a From Shadows remix, and then this staple right at the end, like a Trojan horse of monochrome ship baiting.
That's why I can't blame you for not noticing.
It's my second least favorite of the volume. It's very forgettable. I actually forgot about it until I was scrolling through here. Literally, how long have we been recording? An hour? So like an hour and 2 minutes ago is when I remember that the song existed.
I don't even know if I've heard it like in full, to be honest. I don't know if I have. I mean, I bought the soundtrack. I think I bought the volumes 1 through 3 soundtracks. I know I own volumes 1 through 3 on DVD or Blu-ray, whichever I bought it on back in the day. But I don't know if I ever listened to that song. Okay, now volume 2. So, the intro song, Time to Say Goodbye, which, spoiler, all the first 3 volume intro songs are fantastic. I put this one below This Will Be the Day, personally. Like, it's not right below, but like it's not, in terms of intro songs, I don't like it as much. I think Media and I both agree that this one would have been better as a volume 3 intro than a volume 2 intro.
I think I made that point years ago when we first
I don't know if I agree that this is actually better than the actual volume 3 intro song. We'll get to that when we get to the volume 3 intro song. But this definitely, lyrically and musically, it sounds more like a volume 3 intro than a volume 2 intro. Which, again, I'm not going to blame Jeff for this, because what the fuck really even happens in Volume 2? What's he supposed to write about, really? You know, hey, we're going to hang out for a whole volume and do nothing! You know, what are we going to do, right? Like,
we're going to chase bad guys around a ruined city for 3 episodes.
Yeah, what are we going to talk about? Yeah, you know, our history professor is actually a badass? Like, no, who cares?
Who's going to take me to the dance?
Yeah, exactly. Let's see, is he gonna write that into the fucking lyrics? The lyrics are actually pretty good if you do read them as the intro, like a volume 3 or volume 4 intro lyrics. We were born to fight and die, sacrifice for one huge lie. Are we heroes keeping peace, or are we weapons pointed at the enemy so someone else can claim a victory? That is definitely shooting directly at Ozpin's fuckery, and I do like that. Now it's time to say goodbye to the things we love and the innocence of youth. Yeah, again, totally works for volume 3. Doesn't work for volume 2 at all. And again, I'm going to say I think that's the writer's fault. I do think it's a very good song musically as well. It's catchy. It's good. It's on my, it's on my RWBY playlist. It's just a good song. But again, it's another one of those things where the lyrics promise so much more than the fucking show delivers, and I'm not going to blame Jeff. I'm going to blame the fucking writers of the show.
Yeah, I think, again, we're not talking about, like, visuals here, but I kind of have to with the openings.
That's fine.
With all the opening songs, because so much of, the RWBY experience is watching the openings. Same thing with any anime. And so... Yeah. You are going to just inherently think of the visuals as you listen to the song. Like, you're just going to forever associate with them. At least I am. I'm always going to associate the visuals with the music here. Even more so than This Will Be the Day. I actually have this ranked 3rd within the Volume 2 soundtrack. Even though I think visually this is better than This Will Be the Day. And I think as a song, it is on par with This Will Be the Day. I would have it like a notch below. It's just that the 2 songs I have above it from Volume 2 are like my 2nd and 4th favorite song in all of RWBY.
It's funny that we have differences. This is also my 3rd favorite song from this volume.
But yeah, I do really like Time to Say Goodbye. But let's move on to the next song. Probably my, not my least favorite from Volume 2, but it's down there. It's my 2nd least favorite from Volume 2, Die.
My 3rd least favorite, but it is down there. It's still solid, it's Die, yeah. To me, the lyrics are just like a weaker version of Time to Say Goodbye. Like, the lyrics are very similar if you listen to it. Like, it's just very generic, things are getting bad kind of, lyrics, but they're not nearly as good or as specific as Time to Say Goodbye. And it's kind of the same with the music. I like the darker sounding chorus. It's still solid musically. The post-chorus guitar riff is really good. I think that's the one that goes like da 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 da, like something like that, right? It's like kind of going downwards. The lyrics really are very generic on this one, to be honest, and so I think that's kind of what brings it down.
Yeah, they're very like not related to anything that is going on either in the scene that it plays in or in just Volume 2 in general or RWBY as a whole. Like, this is supposed to kind of be a Yang song, I guess, because it plays during a big moment for her. But, like, there's nothing about Yang in here. Other than the line of something about gold. Yeah, the days were bright, they shine like gold, every step ascending. None of the ideas have, like, any kind of, like, conclusion either. Our dreams came true, our path was clear, but it never alludes to what that means. Like, what path, what dream. Look around, it's getting very hard to find. What? Like, a love for mankind, I guess? Because that's the preceding line. Revenge is always sweet. Revenge on who? Who do these girls have beef with in this one? Like, they have beef with Torchwick, a guy who's just kind of a dick.
I know, right? Yeah, so it's just, yeah, it's very generic. That's kind of all there is to it, to be honest. Musically, it's decent, but it's still not, it's not as clever or unique. Like, Jeff does do some pretty interesting musical elements to a lot of his songs, and I just don't think this has that. It's, even musically, it's relatively, it's not bad. Again, I would not call it bad in any way musically. It's just fine. Do you want to go to the next one then?
Next is Shine, which is another, like, generic song, but one where the genericism works in its favor, because this is a diegetic song. It is a song that actually exists, that they actually listen and dance to during Volume 2. It's a bop. Like, I like the song. It's a fun little dance pop song.
This is, to me, like, getting songs like this. The funny thing is, so, like, in terms of rating, I guess this is, to me, I think nostalgically, Volume 2 soundtrack is really high on my list, just like in terms of nostalgia. I think this soundtrack has the most non-rock songs in it. The non-rock songs are so good in this soundtrack in particular. Like, this shows, like, some of the range that Jeff has as a composer and as a musician, and, like, his ability to make songs that aren't just butt rock songs. And people will always complain about the butt rock in RWBY. Oh my gosh. I think part of the perception from that is that, like, I think it was that H-Bomber guy. Was it the H-Bomber guy? Or one of the two, like, most viewed videos trashing on RWBY. Because let's be honest, all the most viewed things from RWBY besides RWBY itself are people shitting on RWBY, which is fair. I'm not complaining about that. That is totally fair.
Like what you want to like, hate what you want to hate.
I think some things that are a little inaccurate, like, I think it was H-Bomber guy, or it was the one where the, like, so this is basically RWBY video. I forget who even makes those videos.
That one. I hate that. That's Jello. I just hate Jellopocalypse. Guy's a fucking knobbin.
I've only ever watched, I think, that video from us, so I don't really know anything about Jellopocalypse. Anyway, well, I think it was one of those two who, like, made fun of all the butt rock in RWBY, which is sort of a fair point to make. Yes, he makes a lot of heavy rock music, but, like, it fits the show, first of all. Also, that's the kind of music he makes. Third of all, he's pretty good at it. It's not like people complain about Linkin Park making too much rap metal. Okay, I'm not saying he's as good as Linkin Park, but
no, I'm not.
I actually think Linkin Park's pretty great. Especially the early stuff.
I did too.
Hybrid Theory and Meteor are fucking all-time albums. My point, I'm not saying he's that good, but he's good at what he does. But it is also, so I think a lot of his rock songs, like, having listened to all the tracks, I did not get bored of his rock music. And this is somebody, I hate Nickelback. And I hate a lot of those, like early 2000s Christian nu metal bands. I hate that shit. So the fact that I'm good with this, like, I should not be as good with this as I am, it's pretty good. But I will say it is really nice when he just does, like, some of his dance tracks and pop tracks. He's not always good at them, but when he's good at them, he's really good at them. And yeah, this one's a bop. My biggest complaint about this one, why it's not ranked higher for me, is the lyrics are a bit more generic, which is fair enough because it's supposed to be, it is a diegetic song, as media pointed out. So it is clearly supposed to be like a Pyrrha song.
It is a Juniper song. In fact, this is the name of the Juniper anthology. There's 5 anthology mangas. There's the RWBY one, Weiss, Blake, Yang, and then one for just Team Juniper. And Team Juniper's is called Shine.
Okay, that makes sense.
I have not read it, so I don't know if it's any good. But I liked the RWBY and Weiss ones, Red Like Roses and Mirror Mirror.
Having read the lyrics and listened to the lyrics, I would say that it definitely does feel more like a Pyrrha song, to be honest. It is more generic, so that's why I have it ranked lower. But musically, man, it's fun. And it fits the scene that they put it in.
I do have this ranked 6 out of 8 in Volume 2, but I would have this right up there with Gold and Mirror Mirror. I just think Volume 2 soundtrack is just that much stronger overall. Like, even though Volume 1 has my first and second favorite RWBY song in it, 5 of the top 10 are going to be from Volume 2. I just love so many of these songs.
Yeah, I'd say nostalgically Volume 2 is my favorite soundtrack. So let's get to the next one, because the next one is a fucking banger. This one's one of my top 2.
Ah, it is.
It is, see?
Damn it.
I knew you were going to be wrong, by the way.
It's my number 2.
Yeah, I knew you were going to be wrong.
My second favorite, Dream Come True.
Dream Come True is so... You think I was going to put this lower because I don't like Arcos. But it doesn't matter that I don't like Arcos. This is what I said, where my bias is I leave my biases by the wayside for music. Keep in mind, I was a semi-professional musician for many years. I got a lot of paying gigs. Okay, I was a really fucking good drummer for a long time. I will toot my own horn on that. I got a lot of paid gigs and studio gigs and live gigs and stuff like that for a lot of years, okay? I do love music, right? Not that I'm the greatest musician, I'm not. But I'm putting the music first here, okay? I'm putting the music and the lyrics first. My biases are gone, at least mostly gone. And this song fucking slaps. Lyrically, because it's not diegetic and it's so much more specific, it's way better than Shine musically. Lyrically at the very least. I feel like this must have been written after Shine or something like that. It's also musically, it's one of Jeff's best songs too. It's an incredible...
I love when a love song has swing. Like, that's why I have this rated so highly, is just the swinging aspect. Like, you can actually, like, groove to this. Like, Shine you can dance to, but, like, in a highly choreographed way, like they do in Volume 2. Whereas this, like, it makes me want to, like, just find a girl, grab her, and swing her around. And this reminds me a lot of, or I guess I should say that the person I'm about to bring up reminds me of this song, because I was a fan of this song long before I was a fan of this person. I have admitted this before on Twitter. I don't know if I've ever really talked about this with you, dude. I fucking love Carly Rae Jepsen. This sounds like a Carly Rae Jepsen song.
It does sound like a Carly Rae Jepsen song. No, dude, Carly Rae Jepsen's underrated. I'm going to say that right now. I also love Chapel Roan, by the way. Chapel Roan is actually fucking fantastic.
I've listened to a lot of Chapel Roan because my sister loves her. But I have not actually, like, sat down and listened to her albums like I have Carly Rae Jepsen.
Oh, I'm sure you're more into her than I do, but she has a few songs where I'm like, damn, these are underrated. Why are these not, like...
Cut to the Feeling might be my favorite song of all time.
Okay, so you're more of a fan than I am.
I wanna cut through the clouds, break the ceiling. I wanna dance on the roof, you and me alone.
She has some, like, fucking big-ass choruses. Anyway, sorry, that's enough Glazing Carly Rae Jepsen randomly. Anyway, this song is amazing. Again, I have this rated, like, it's one of my top songs from all of the RWBY soundtracks. And again, I don't like Arcos, okay? I am not an Arcos fan. I'm not a Pyrrha fan. Talked about this before, but God, and I'm not even a big Jean fan. I rated Jean lower than anybody else on this podcast. I'm one of the people that would prefer if just Team Juniper just didn't exist. And that includes Jean. I think the show would be better without them. But the beat is so good throughout the song. Even the lyrics are funny. I love the, why don't you forget about the little chick in white? She don't care about you and she's so uptight. And they put a Kara Everly K in there. So fucking funny. I don't know if they just took that from somewhere else or if they actually got Kara Everly.
It was from, they took the scene, it's also in Volume 2, when RWBY's like, friends, sister, Weiss.
So, yeah, that was good too. So that was fucking funny. So much personality. And it is accurate to probably how Pyrrha felt, because Pyrrha at that point was a much nicer person than Weiss was, and was a better person than Weiss was at that point. The only problem with the song that I have is there's a drum fill from the end of the first chorus into the second verse, and it's just off. I don't know what happened with that drum fill. It sounds like shit. Anybody listens to that knows anything about music, you'll know that something went wrong there somehow. I don't want to be mean, but I'm gonna be, as a drummer. Whoever is recording the drums for all of these soundtracks until we get to Volume 9 sounds like a very competent technical drummer that sounds like they picked up drums as their second instrument. They do not sound like a drummer first. I don't know who the personnel is for any of these soundtracks. I wonder if, like, it's just Jeff doing it, maybe, or something, or even programming, because the drums always sound recorded like crap. They almost sound like they're electronic drums. I don't know that they are, but they sound to me like it's just Jeff playing them on an electronic drum kit, or like on a drum machine or something. That's what it always sounds like. So maybe that explains why There's a lot of weird shit with the drums in all of the RWBY soundtracks. Any drummers, like experienced drummers listening to this, or even other musicians listening to the RWBY soundtracks will know that that is one of the issues with the RWBY soundtracks overall. There's some weird shit that happens with the drums a lot in the RWBY soundtracks, especially with drum fills, that just a drummer would not normally do. So that's why I'm confused as to what the situation is with the drums on these. Anyway, that's one of the fills where it's just like, that's just not right. But there's some other really cool shit, like the acapella chorus at the end with this, the drum fill building up into the reprise of the full chorus is amazing. The song sounds huge. It sounds gigantic. Even having those extra vocal lines over the end of the chorus, like, and then having it kind of quiet down at the end, like musically, this song fucking takes you on a journey. I will glaze the song all day. It's fucking incredible.
The Notice Me at the end, that's also very Carly Rae Jepsen, especially like Emotion era Carly Rae Jepsen. Like Your Type or Runaway with Me or Favorite
so
Color.
Good.
So
actually, I've actually heard other music critics like Carly Rae Jepsen that actually might give you more credit among people that are like this weird like intellectual pop critic people. I know at least one of them actually likes Carly Rae Jepsen.
Well, yeah. I mean, the only reason why I even checked out Emotion, that album, was because of Todd in the Shadows. Yeah, talking about Runaway with Me.
That's exactly who I was talking about. That's when I said slightly intellectual pop reviewers. I was literally thinking of Todd in the Shadows because I know Todd in the Shadows likes Carly Rae Jepsen. He's also a big Hanson fan. And then I listened to some of Hanson's other music, like, oh, they're actually kind of good. He's right.
Now, Hanson I had been aware of because a youth pastor of mine was big into Hanson.
Shoutouts to Todd in the Shadows, who's...
Oh, yeah, Todd in the Shadows. He's doing good work over there.
Yeah, he's fantastic. Love Todd in the Shadows, yeah. Honestly, one of my top 3 favorite YouTube channels.
Yep.
Along with
I don't know about top 3, but he's up there. He's top
3 for me. It's him, Laser Pig, and then there's always another one like rotating out of there. But him and Laser Pig are like always top 2. Maybe Defunct Land all time. His video on Fast Pass is probably one of the best YouTube videos ever made. Jenny Nicholson's video on the Star Wars Hotel is one of the best YouTube videos of all time also. She doesn't make enough videos though. Anyway, next one would be
Caffeine.
Oh, it's really generic. I still cringe every time I hear the lyrics to the song.
It is so weird. It's such a silly, ridiculous song.
And it also musically, it's not one of Jeff's better songs. Like the delivery in the verses sounds super rushed. I do think the energy of the song obviously fits what it's going for, but
it's out of Jeff's range. The fact that he tries to sing this and like the Casey verses are better. It's a little like mushmouth. It's got like a mushmouth delivery for a lot of it.
Yeah, and some of the lines are really actually bad. Like so many of the lyrics are just really cheesy and bad. Like
I have no idea what possessed them to invoke Otis Redding in this fucking song. Sitting on a dock by the bay. That Otis Redding in this song?
It's also an insult to Otis Redding, who's, much better than this song is, okay? But yeah, like, and some of it's just really weak, too. Like, saying, I'm not afraid to take you out. Like, God, guys, you gotta cuss or something. Like, if you're gonna try to say something badass, you can't just say that. This is like, what's Nora's line, I just need him to go down line all over again. But way before that line even happened. It just sounds lame.
Well, like, the take you out works because of the double meaning of take you out, like, oh, take you out for drinks or take you out, like, permanently.
Yeah, but if you put it in the context of the rest of the song with how lame it is, I'm caffeine, I'm a bad dream, I'm a rad scene, I'm a tad mean, but I'm not afraid to take you out. Oh, come on, that just sounds...
Yeah.
It sounds like something... It sounds like somebody who got way too into My Chemical Romance at age 12 is...
It makes Coco sound like a tryhard.
Yeah, it makes Coco sound like a tryhard, where she's supposed to actually be cool. This is a bad song. This is one of the few... I love Jeff. I'm a huge... guys know I've been glazing Jeff this whole time, but this song sucks. I kind of like it anyway. Like, I used to listen to the song once in a while, like, in like an older RWBY playlist I had. It was in that playlist. So I might have defended this the first time we listened to, the first time we did. I don't know. I genuinely don't remember. It's objectively bad. Subjectively, I just kind of like it anyway. But objectively, I rated it the lowest in this volume. It's the worst one in the volume.
Same. So next is my favorite song from Volume 2, All Our Days.
Okay, so you were right about this one. I have this one as my second least favorite. So you were wrong about Dream Come True.
It is kind of like generic in that, like...
That's my problem.
But if I heard correctly, and I did hear this, but I don't know if this is accurate information. apparently Jeff wrote this for Casey separate from RWBY. And then it got, like, put into the RWBY soundtrack. Because it kind of fit some of the stuff that was going on in Volume 2. And because of that, we don't know if this is supposed to be, like, Tai to RWBY, or Yang to RWBY.
I feel like it's Yang. I think it's Yang to RWBY.
Or, another thing is that this does play during the RWBY Penny scene, so it could be Penny and her father, Professor Paladina.
Look, we're just gonna we almost never disagree, media, you and I. Everybody knows that. It's kind of our problem. I'm gonna argue with you here. The fact that we don't know exactly who this is for, it has to be lower than it can't be the best song in the volume if we don't even know who the fuck it's for.
I mean, that's an argument that I'm not gonna, like, say no, but, like, for my personal taste, and maybe it's because of my nieces and just the relationship I have with them, because I always liked the song a lot. It was always up there for me, but I don't remember if it was my number one for the volume. In fact, I think Time to Say Goodbye was my number one for the volume for a long time, and it was much more recently that Dream Come True and All Our Days both surpassed it for me. I like that this does fit pretty much any father and daughter combination that isn't Weiss. That doesn't.
Yeah, that's true.
But, like, other than Jacques, all the girls got pretty good dads. Everyone's got pretty good dads. Loren's got a good dad. Yang and RWBY have a good dad. Blake's got a good dad. We don't know Jean's dad, but we imagine that he's pretty good considering he put 8 babies in a lady. So, like, he's got to be doing something right.
He's doing many things right. Or he's just doing one thing right over and over again.
But yeah, like, I just like this song. I
think musically this one's a little boring too. I think it's a little dull. Like, I as far as I like that we disagree on this, by the way. This is fun. I think so for me, okay, so I put that this is the only song from the first 3 volumes that I actively did not want to finish listening to. I still remember, I wrote that down, like, as I was listening to it, it's like, man, I do not want to finish this song. It's boring. Like, I am just bored right now. The lyrics are solid. I'm not saying they're awful lyrics, but I would say they are definitely more generic. Like, if we're thinking of this as a, Yang to RWBY song, which is kind of how I interpreted it, Gold is way better of conveying Yang's feelings to RWBY. Not just more specific, it's also just better. To me, this just sounds like a more generic One-chan protecting her Emoto bullshit. Like, and to translate that from Weeb, that's an older sister protecting her younger sister bullshit. Like, that's what it sounds like to me. It's not specific to any relationship enough. Now, again, if it is Jeff to Casey, I guess that makes more sense. But then I would still argue it can't be enough to make it one of the better songs on this soundtrack, which is already a very strong soundtrack. It's just musically, I don't find anything super interesting. There's nothing super catchy. And if you're going to try to go for a more meaningful, deeper song and go for things that way rather than being catchy, well, the lyrics aren't meaningful enough to go that route for this show. So to me, this is the second worst song in the volume. It's still not awful.
I really wish I had a better argument against you, but I don't.
This is where I have my advantage, because, like, you can beat me in, like, writing arguments. I'm the guy who studied music and I've played multiple instruments, so I can kind of, not that somebody else who's a better musician than me could come in and kick my ass, right? I'm not that arrogant, right? I'm just saying, I think of this group, I think I'm the musician of our podcast group. So I can just, drop my musician nuts on the table just in this context against everybody here, and then if some real musician came in, like an actual current professional musician came in, I'd get my ass kicked, right? And I know that, I'm just saying. But I think here that's where my one advantage is. I can talk about the musical aspects and things more. Let's talk about my favorite song from this soundtrack, which you could probably have guessed was my favorite song from the soundtrack. It's Boop.
I have this 4th. I have this right below Time to Say Goodbye.
Okay, so you still have it pretty high up then. Okay.
Oh, I mean, I would still have this song above, like, Mirror Mirror or Gold.
Oh yeah, no, it's fucking fantastic song.
This is another one that gives me that Carly Rae Jepsen vibe, where it's just all swing, swing, swing. I think, oh whoa, what am I to do? Ooh.
Yeah. Boop, 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 boop. This song, musically, this might be Jeff's best song. And I know everybody's thinking the same thing. Oh, he's the Renora simp. He's the fucking Renora Buta in this fucking group. Okay, I know. Okay, oink oink. I'm a fucking Renora Buta. I know that. But that means pig, by the way. But anyway, this is the song that made me a Renora shipper. Just so y'all know. I was not a specific Renora shipper until I heard this song. And that's how fucking good this song is. Musically, it's fucking... I don't even know what genre this is exactly. But it fucking works.
I would actually call it like Broadway pop. Like every time I listen to the song, I think of like...
It's like a show tune.
Man, RWBY would kick ass as like a live show. As like a stage play. With like elaborate costumes and dance choreography.
Kind of would actually. It'd be weird with the weapons, but it kind of would.
So you'd have to tweak some things. I mean, fuck, if Spider-Man can work on Broadway, anything can.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Of course, Spider-Man doesn't actually work on Broadway. It just exists on Broadway. It doesn't actually work.
Now, in fairness, this is actually, of the first 3 volumes, just so you know, I have tempered my Renora bias here. This is actually only 3rd on the overall volumes 1 through 3 soundtrack list. So I actually have a song from the next volume higher than this song. So just so you know, I'm not being completely biased here. I genuinely like musically. Again, it's not because I love Renora. I love Renora because of this song. It's probably closest to a show tune, but still, like, there's so much going on here. This has that classic Jeff Williams thing. So Jeff has a few tropes that he does. Every musician does, and that's totally fine. And a lot of Jeff's tropes I really like. One of them is, adding guitar solos to everything, even genres of music that shouldn't have guitar solos, which I fucking love. I think that's great because guitar solos have been disappearing from music forever, and I hate that. So I love that he adds musicianship into songs that would otherwise not have a ton of musicianship. He has this certain style of harmony that he does on a lot of choruses that I also really like. And then another big signature of Jeff's music is intros that stylistically do not fit with the rest of the song. But again, I mean that as a compliment because he just has these really cool intros to a lot of songs that just start off way slower and just completely different than the rest of
the opening little piano riff, like never knew a time
when you were by my side. Yeah, it's awesome. It works.
What's that called when someone like does the slides their hand over all the keys?
I think it's called a run.
Yeah, it does that and then jumps into the chorus.
It's so fucking good.
So a point I wanted to make about this song.
I have more to say, by the way. Let me just finish because this is I get to have my Renora rant once per podcast. I did hold my promise, by the way. Those of you who listen to the last fucking podcast will know we recorded that podcast twice, basically in full, and I didn't say Nora's name once, and I didn't talk about Renora at all. So just so you know, I can do it, but we can't help it here. This is literally the fucking Renora anthem. This is the song that built the SS together. Okay, anybody who's an old school RWBY fan has seen that picture before and knows what that stands for. Okay. I get to talk about it here. And also this song is just so fun. This could have been a Blake song and it would have been my favorite song.
It's one of my favorite songs. So good.
It's just so good. Yeah, musically, it's just incredible. Lyrics are also really good too. Never knew a time when you weren't by my side. The one thing I could always count on, always there for me. You've been my family even when all other hope was gone. Knowing what we know in Volume 4, it makes the song even better. It makes it even better. It's so good. All the lyrics fit Nora.
That's the second point I'm going to bring up. No, keep going.
Yeah, I'll have you can do your rant too because this song deserves positive rants. Okay, all the lyrics fit Nora perfectly in the show. I love the cute line of the chorus. I just bite my tongue, and when I want to say I love you, I'll say boop, and then the little boop 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 boops afterwards. It's adorable. It's fucking amazing. It's like the background lyrics in "Fuck You" by CeeLo Green that are just so clever. Like you have the little background, like the women singing the background lyrics afterwards and during the chorus. It works so well. This is very similar in that way. And that's also kind of a swinging-ish kind of song. And then you do a whole different slowdown for the second verse. Come and join me in our castle. We'll crush our enemies. Bring them to our knees. I know I have a tendency to babble. And then she starts babbling right after that. Fucking genius. Love it. Okay. I know it's obvious, but it still works, right? And it's not just great musically and lyrically, but both make the other better in this song. Okay. Like, they each serve each other so well. Like, it's catchy as shit. You don't even know the genre is unique, and it just works. And by the fucking way, this is the thing I was talking about before. I had a Facebook conversation with Jeff Williams years ago about Volume 4 and this song. And he fucking replied to me, by the way. In 2017, I fucking screenshotted that conversation. I found it in my Facebook again recently. And I actually talked to Jeff Williams about this. And fucking dude responded to me. Because I asked him, basically, you had an instrumental, like, more, like, soundtrack version of Boop playing in the background while Ren and Nora were in the airship.
Okay, that was one of the things I was going to bring up.
Yeah, Ren grabs Nora's hand basically when it's like the line is like, I never thought that I would fall in love with you. That's the moment that Ren grabs Nora's hand. To give Jeff credit, and this is true, he clearly knows more, I think, than we do, and he's very clever with when he does things, at least, even if he doesn't know more than we do. He clearly is very intentional with his lyrics, and when he puts stuff, especially for the songs that are more specific to the characters, I think he's actually pretty solid lyricist. I'm not saying he's, fucking Kendrick Lamar or whatever, or anything like that, but he's really good, okay? Especially for what Rooster Teeth could do, right? And I asked him, I was like, that was on purpose, right? And he gave me kind of a non-committal answer, because I think he kind of had to. But he said, I don't know, it works musically for the scene, right? I mean, I don't write the show. Read into it what you want to read into it and enjoy. But I know what you know, nothing more, lol. But anyways, thank you for the kind words. We really appreciate it. And we're very glad you like the music. So, by the way, first of all, thanks to Jeff for replying to a fucking nobody on the internet and actually giving me somewhat of an answer. The way I read into his reply, I read you his reply word for word. I think he's just trying to be magnanimous and just trying to keep things under wraps. I would assume, and I'm not putting words in his mouth, my assumption is that he is told more than than what we know. I think that's probably obvious. And so I'm assuming that's why he did all that stuff. And then the writer, because there's so many clues of the writers dropping the ball. And I think for so much of the show, not just the song, for so many things in the song, like Gold and other songs too. But Gold is another one that sticks out to me. Like Yang could have been so much more of a sister. I think the writers are giving Jeff all these things that they want to do and that they say they're going to do. And he's like, okay, I'm going to put this in the song. And then they don't follow through with it. And I think that is one of the biggest issues with RWBY as a show, is they do have these cool ideas. And then Jeff, because he's getting these ideas early, is like, okay, I'm going to put this stuff in. I'm going to write a song about that. And then the song is amazing. It's better than anything in the show. Like Red Like Roses Part 2, Boop, and a couple other songs, Dream Come True, are better than RWBY as a show, I will argue. Okay? And that's probably because he gets the, I think, I can't, say for sure. I think he's getting these ideas and these, what they're outlining for him, and then they just don't follow through with it. That's my thought.
I love how they bring back that piano riff as a leitmotif. There's a lot of leitmotifs in RWBY. Not all of them translate well into the lyrical soundtrack, because a lot of times they'll do a part 1, part 2 situation, or similar themes, but a completely different song. Even a completely different song titled. Twice's songs always have mirrors. RWBY songs always have roses and blood. Yang song always have gold and suns. Blake's is all about shadows and oppression. Even though there are a lot of leitmotifs, there's not a whole lot of overlap between the leitmotifs and the lyrical songs. Boop is in that overlap. I believe they've used it several times since Volume 4 for scenes with Ren and Nora together. Just the little piano riff part. Do 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 do. And I love that, it really shows how strong that chord progression is, that it translates well into both the high-octane show tune, Broadway, musical, Carly Rae Jepsen pop song, but also the, slower, more melancholic score, in the scene in Volume 4.
No, they use it so much, it's to the point where I will know if Ren and Nora is confirmed before it gets confirmed, because if I hear Boop again, that's when I know that they're actually going to fucking follow through with it. And if I never hear Boop again, then I have some words for the writers.
Point I wanted to bring up about the song. Did you know that it's diegetic? You can hear it on Nora's headphones during Volume 2, Episode 6, when Ren is in the towel and Jean's having the guy talk with him.
Fuck?
He's like, Nora, I said headphones on!
Are you shitting me?
Yes, that is the song she is listening to. You can barely hear it, but it's there.
How did you figure that out?
Very good headphones.
God damn, I haven't...
And also a lot of editing. A lot of using these clips and shit in videos and stuff.
Because I have some really nice fucking inner monitors right now, and a fucking preamp.
People who don't, do YouTube work or do video editing work, they don't really understand. I have every single frame of this goddamn show burned into my brain because of this fucking YouTube channel.
Yeah, you do.
I have every line of dialogue. I have every single musical key and cue and shit. Because I've done a lot of work on YouTube, and most of it is RWBY related. I have been forced to watch and rewatch the scene, basically frame by frame, soundbite by soundbite, several times, like 100 times over, and that's lowballing. Like, I don't think you understand how deeply imprinted onto my fucking medulla oblongata this fucking show is.
Yeah.
I can't escape it. The one time I thought I was done. I was free. I was finally free. A bunch of the channels I watch were starting to watch it and talk about it and react to it. I can't get away.
We've talked about this before. It's such a great show to talk about. More than almost any other show that's ever existed. It is like I don't know what it is. There's multiple factors to it. But it's not just us. This show is just endlessly fascinating to discuss and pick apart. More than almost anything else. Like, this is like the room levels of being able to discuss something more than it should be able to be discussed about. It's not as bad as the RWBY. I've actually watched the RWBY. The RWBY is way better than the RWBY. Not saying it's a masterpiece. It's absolutely not. Like, I love Andor, but I could talk about RWBY so much more than I could talk about Andor, because Andor is just like, it's fucking brilliance. What more are you really going to say? All you're going to be doing is glazing it pretty much the entire time and maybe pointing out a couple flaws. RWBY is such a perfect blend of fascinating and sometimes good and most of the time not meeting expectations, but rarely to the point where it's extremely terrible, but then one volume it is extremely terrible, volume 5, and then the rest of the time it's just kind of disappointing, but then there's still some good elements to it. So it's like, it's got good music, it's got sometimes interesting fight scenes, but then sometimes the fight scenes are bad, and then the animation gets better, but it was pretty bad at first. It's such a blend of every single level of quality possible that, like, it's impossibly interesting to talk about. And so I think that's why so many people have talked about, even other like gigantic channels like H-Bomber guy made a whole fucking, he dedicated a whole one of his videos. He doesn't even make that many videos. He dedicated a whole fucking video to RWBY. That's crazy that it even happened. Like, it's obviously he was shitting on it the whole time, but it's amazing that he even made a video about RWBY. That's nuts. That's how you know the show is way too interesting to fucking talk about.
The point I was trying to make with Boop is that that's what I was talking about earlier about, like, the diegetic song that, like, nobody realizes is diegetic, but it's so, like, specific to Nora, like, down to, like, this is the only mention of Magan Hill. The name Magan Hill is not in any other RWBY material other than this song and, like, the data books.
Oh, that her weapon is called Magan Hill, which is crazy because it's the second best weapon in all of RWBY, and I will fight anybody on that. Might actually be the best.
To be fair, I'm pretty sure Crescent Rose is the only one that they ever name drop in the actual show. I'm pretty sure all the other ones are from, like, Q&As.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. But Magan Hill is such a cool fucking weapon.
It just because it's diegetic and because it's so specific to Nora, like, did Nora, like, is Nora secretly rich?
Yeah, is Nora secretly a pop star?
No, what's more likely is that she went to this pop star's house and then threatened them.
Based on her man, because she's like, make my boyfriend, make my man a song!
No, she moonlights as a songwriter. Like, that's her secret night job. That's how she's able to pay for all of her grenades.
She does shoot a lot of grenades, that is true.
Where the fuck does she keep them all?
Yeah, as a homeless person, where the fuck is she keeping all that shit? That's a good point.
Rin's rounds at least fit in his pockets.
Nora's skirts are always short and her jackets are always tiny, and in the volumes 1 through 3, she doesn't even have a jacket. Where are all those fucking grenades, man?
Let's not think about the logistics of, like, where they keep their ammunition.
Yeah, no, that'll only create more problems for every character, basically. Not just Nora.
Last song for Volume 2 is what plays during the credits for Volume 2. Sacrifice, a Cinder song? Question mark?
It's a Cinder song. It's definitely a Cinder.
I always thought that, but the more we find out about Cinder, the more it's like, this is not adding up.
Yeah, but there's a lot of the songs. Again, remember, what did I just say? I know I was ranting, but I wasn't wrong.
I do think it actually fits, like, Raven's whole motivation and her, like, what her deal ended up being.
Yeah, but falls from grace are never elegant. Like, when did Raven ever fall from grace? When did Cinder ever fall from grace either, I guess. In fairness. Fuck. You know, now that you say that, you're not wrong. I'm not your sacrifice. That fits Raven way more than it fits Cinder. You can try, but You can try, but I'm free, and you won't conquer me. I won't crawl most of all. I won't fall for you.
That fits for both of them.
It does, but it also, I think that actually does.
You know, Cinder literal slave child origins.
Yeah. Again, okay. So fine, it works for either of them. It's good. It's solid. I think musically, it's a good rock song against very negative sounding, which fits for what it's supposed to be doing. I think Jeff has a good knack for these kind of. They're not just technically minor key, but they're just very like darker, more depressing sound. Like most of all, I won't fall for you. Like it's always downer kind of lyrics and downer kind of melodies. He does a good job of doing that without making it sound super fucking emo, in my opinion. Maybe that's because
I think the saving grace of the song is Casey, because I think musically this is just okay. I think lyrically it's just okay, but the venom that Casey managed to pull through with the way she delivers these lines. What if all the plans you made were not worth the price they paid?
And I like the little piano, like the little like baby piano riff that they put there too. It's like a Little Tikes play school piano. It's not. That's not what they're using, I'm sure, but it is like a very high. It's not a real. That's not a regular piano they're using. I don't think any piano goes that high. So they're using something else for that. Probably a keyboard, like an electronic keyboard emulating that. But it works. Also, can we just give a shout out to Casey? We didn't even glaze Casey because we should be. Because in Volume 1, she was like, what, 14? When she recorded those vocals? Holy shit! Like, I remember even back then, I still remember when the Volume 1, like, we were listening to Volume 1 music, and we found out that the fucking vocalist was Jeff Williams' daughter, and that she was like 14 years old, younger than RWBY is canonically at that point. When she recorded the vocals for the Volume 1 soundtrack, like This Will Be the Day and all that shit, and Red Like Roses Part 2, fuck me, is she talented. Damn, does she kick ass being that age and, putting out the fucking vocal performance that she put out. And she's consistent throughout every single fucking volume in terms of her vocal performances. Like, god damn, like, Lindsay Jones, seriously fantastic as a voice actor. I think underrated, honestly. I know some people, like, have a problem with RWBY's voice. I personally don't. I think she does an amazing job.
Goes up and down with some of the volumes. There was a couple volumes there, like I think like volumes 5, 6, and 7, where it sounded more like a caricature of her original RWBY voice. Volume 8, she locked it back down and went back to like how she actually sounded, and then
Volume 9 is really good too. No, I know. I'm not saying it's an all-time vocal performance by, like, it's not Mark Hamill levels, okay? Obviously not. But compared to a lot of the other voice acting, it's pretty good. Casey's even better. Like, Casey, I can't find a fault with Casey's vocal performance. I just want to give Casey credit, because I do genuinely think she does an amazing job throughout the entire series, and I'm actually really excited to talk about her songwriting, because it's so different from Jeff's when we finally get to Volume 9. That's the one I'm most excited to talk about. I'm not saying whether it's the best or the worst, but it's just so different that I'm excited to talk about it. This song is good. It's fine. It's third or fourth lowest for me. It's not one of the best songs, but I like it fine. To your point, it is Casey that kind of carries the song. I was trying to give her credit because we hadn't talked about it yet. We hadn't talked about how good her vocal performances are throughout the whole series, and I think she deserves credit for that.
Yeah, there'll be other opportunities, obviously, because I think with Casey the best is yet to come. Much so, where it's like I do think like the best orchestrations and backtracks in Jeff's career come from the first 2 or 2.5 RWBY soundtracks. Where Jeff got more stale over time, Casey only got better. We ready for Volume 3 soundtrack, When It Falls. Probably my least favorite of the 9 openers.
I don't agree with that at all. What the fuck? Okay, see, I like that we disagree. We so rarely disagree, media. This is fun, because
it's still my third favorite song on this soundtrack.
Oh, funny enough, it is also my third favorite song on this soundtrack. But it's much higher for me in terms of overall openings. I have this 3 openings above it, so it's fourth for me. It's actually fourth for me. I do have This Will Be the Day above it.
I've been debating whether I want to have When It Falls or Triumph. Ranking the openings song-wise. Triumph and When It Falls are about the same, and then I would have like a Trust Love, which is Volume 7, and then the rest is it's a crapshoot from there. Like pick a day, I'll pick a different one.
I don't even have Triumph as the lowest. I don't even have Volume 5s as the lowest. I have a different one as the lowest. And I'm confident about which one I have as the lowest. I'm very confident about the one that I picked as the lowest. I don't think that will change by the time we get there. I actually think this one's very good. I love the piano intro here. That like do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do, like that. It goes into a minor key, and then that into Casey's like super fucking angry fucking vocal delivery there is such a cool transition. I absolutely love that transition from that piano riff intro to Casey's, vocal delivery there, because she just like screams out like, maybe it's red like roses. Like that is, maybe it's the pool of blood. And I also really love the kind of minor key chords at the end of the chorus. It fits the mood. The melody of the verses is really good. The yelling and the very off-putting harmonies do a lot. The kind of offbeat drums. The lyrics are kind of very similar to the Time to Say Goodbye lyrics. I think musically, this is a better song than Time to Say Goodbye. So,
yeah, I will not ever agree with that.
Yeah, I know. I think this one's more interesting musically than Time to Say Goodbye. I think it's more interesting. It's just a more interesting one. And I do think that the lyrics are very accurate to what actually happens by the end of the volume. Arguably one of the most accurate lyrical intros to what ends up happening by the end of the volume, to be honest. Now, yes, could you interchange this with Time to Say Goodbye? Yes, you could. I will admit that. But that's, again, is that Jeff's fault or is that the series writer's fault for giving him the prompts?
And we're not saying that those are musically similar. Like, they are very different musically. They are very different songs. But they kind of hit on a lot of the same ideas of, like, shit's going down, shit's hitting the fan, it's time to fight or die, and shit sucks.
I personally think this one is slightly more musically interesting than Time to Say Goodbye. In terms of numbers, they're only 2 points off from each other out of 100. So it's not like they're super far away. I want to make that clear. I do think they're both good. I think they're both very good, actually. I think the first 3 volumes are the most consistent in terms of the quality of intro songs. Or if you're grouping them into volumes 1 through 3, 4 through 6, 7 through 9, these are the most consistent and the best intro songs of the series. I don't think they're the best intro songs, period. There's a couple in the next sets that I like more, but I do think they're very, very good, honestly.
And I will say, like, even outside of being fitting for the Fall of Beacon, at least, looking at these lyrics, it really works as a Cinder song. Like, more than Sacrifice does. Like, this is not a tragedy, it's not an accident. You place your faith in fools and now you'll smother and lament. Like, that's so fucking Volume 3 Cinder cocky-ass coded.
That's
like,
true.
no shit, it's a tragedy. You made it that way. It's literally your fault.
And the writers barely admit that it's Osmond's fault, and they keep him in the show. I could complain forever about why Osmond just should have stayed dead. He deserved it. Anyway, should we move on to the next one?
Oh, I'm the one. The Mercury and Emerald song.
Yeah, which is just Caffeine Part 2, so it also kind of sucks, to be honest. This is not the worst one in this volume, though.
It's better than Caffeine.
It is a bit better than Caffeine. In fairness, I do have it rated, numbers-wise, I do have it rated higher than Caffeine. Not by a lot. In terms of my ranking from volumes 1 through 3, it's actually only just above Caffeine. Because my problem with this one is the singing cannot keep up with the music pace-wise. This song is so fast and driving in terms of tempo and how fast they're trying to get those lyrics out. You can just tell it just sounds rushed. Yeah, it just sounds too rushed, and I hate that. It just doesn't sound right. It sounds a bit amateurish, to be honest. And most of Jeff's music does not sound like that, aside from the drums, which I've already talked about. A lot of it doesn't sound like that. So this is a disappointment to me. I think the chorus is okay, but the verses are really weak. This is where I can understand, like, where people start to get fatigued by, like, the Jeff Williams butt rock, I guess. This is one of those songs where if you're going to point to complaining about, RWBY has too much butt rock, you're going to point to this song. And this song I wouldn't be able to argue with.
Again, like, we're not considering the track listing other than just to give us a structure for this fucking podcast, because most people just aren't going to listen to it that way. Yeah. But if you are going to listen to it that way, I think the song should have been later in the soundtrack. Because going straight from When It Falls to this is kind of exhausting. Because, like, I would understand if this is, like, the order they appeared in the volume. It's not. Because after When It Falls, it would be It's My Turn, which is in the first episode of the volume. I'm the One comes in, is in the show. It's not diegetic, but it is in the show in Volume 3, Episode 4, during the Mercury and Emerald versus Coco and Yatsuhashi fight. So this should actually be, like, it should be after It's My Turn and after Not Fall in Love With You. And
That's
after, and either before or after Mirror Mirror Part 2, because that is from the same episode.
Yeah, most of the songs really all have to do with the tournament arc, actually, now that you think about it. So they're all very close together, in fairness, which might be why they kind of fucked up the order a little bit. I mean, it's not the biggest complaint. I think the bigger problems are the song itself. It's trying too hard to be all intense and fast and double bass and all that, and it just doesn't work. And so songs like this in Caffeine, if you're complaining about, again, the butt rock of RWBY, I get it for those songs, but it shouldn't bring down the rest of the songs that Jeff has that are other rock songs that actually turn out to be really, really good. We're going to talk about a song that you could argue is just generic butt rock that is one of my favorite songs in the history of RWBY. Not yet, but we're going to talk about in this volume. It's fucking incredible, and it's also a heavy rock song. There's different levels of heavy rock songs, okay? It's not all the same shit. It's fair to criticize this song. I don't like this song. I think it's pretty bad, and I don't like it. It's not on my soundtrack. It's not on my my playlist of RWBY songs that I listen to. That doesn't mean this should bring down the other good rock songs that Jeff has written. But it also points to, I do like when he does non-rock songs.
So after that is It's My Turn, the Weiss song that everyone forgets is a Weiss song.
Yeah, I know, because this is a pretty forgettable song, I think.
Well, it's also it's the song that plays during the RWBY versus Auburn fight, which is not the best.
Yeah, it's not the best. It's not the best tournament arc. Let's be honest. The tournament arc was disappointing. If the best fight of the tournament arc is the fucking Snowbird fight, for those of you who aren't a dirty Snowbird shipper like myself and High Powered are, which I used to pretend I wasn't a Snowbird shipper. I'm a fucking Snowbird shipper. I'm sorry. Fuck off. High Powered and I are the dirty Snowbird shippers of our podcast group. That is genuinely, without even Snowbird, that is the best fight scene of the whole first half of the volume. That's sad that fight scene is better than any of the tournament fight scenes, right? That's kind of damning of the RWBY tournament arc. And I'm not even somebody who watches Shonen Action. I have literally never watched another Shonen Action tournament arc. And even I know that RWBY did a shit job of it if the fight scene that happens on the school grounds outside by two licensed huntsmen is better than, the 4-on-4 fights that are happening in the fucking broadcasted worldwide tournament. That's a fucking, with your main characters, that's a fucking problem.
It's just fights for the sake of fights. Yeah. Like, a lot of times that does happen in tournament arcs and shonen shows because, you have so many characters and sometimes you just gotta get the person to the next round in order to have the matchups that you actually want.
But then you gotta have the fights you care about.
When it comes to the big fights, those fights hit a lot harder than anything in RWBY Volume 3 or anything in RWBY period because, there's so much build-up and the stakes are so well-defined and the character arcs are so well-defined. Whereas, RWBY Volume 3, all the tournament fight, the only tournament fight that, actually matters to anyone's character arc is Pyrrha versus Penny, and maybe you can make the argument for Mercury versus Yang.
I was gonna say, I would make the argument for Mercury versus Yang. Anyway, this song is fine, it's whatever, and I'm a huge Weiss simp. Y'all know that. Huge Weiss simp. I'm the one begging for more Weiss figures that I could buy, because I've already bought a few. One thing I will say is, this does have the signature Jeff Williams intro that sounds nothing like the rest of the song that I do actually like. It does work. The lyrics are pretty solid, I think, actually. Where she says, anything to crush my soul, anything to feel control. Finally free, I've come so far. Finally see how sick you are. Yes, that is actually relatively accurate to Weiss's character, where she's at this point and where she's going to go in Volume 4. So lyrically, yes, this does actually work. Musically, it's pretty whatever. It's a fairly generic rock song. It's not one of his stronger ones.
Yeah, I think it just misses the mark on being a good Weiss song for that moment because, by the end of the volume, she's there, obviously. Yeah. Again, I think this should be after Mirror Mirror Part 2. Yeah. Both on the soundtrack and also just in terms of, Weiss's character arc, this should be after Mirror Mirror Part 2 when she's finally I'm starting to change, which is not the next song. I was like, that would be a good segue into Mirror Mirror Part 2 if that was the next song, but it's not. We got two other songs in between.
Part of the thing that makes that song good and better than this one is that in the song, Weiss transitions from being one way to another. And that's kind of what makes that song good. And this is clearly after that. Sounds like it's... And Jeff probably wrote it that way, in fairness.
And then they just needed a song for the RWBY versus Auburn.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not blaming Jeff for this. You know, everything I've heard from Jeff's lyrics and Jeff's songs makes me favor Jeff over the writers of the show. I'm sorry. And I think, hopefully, we're doing a pretty good job of explaining that. I think we are. I'm a bottle and a half of wine deep, but that's how I normally do these podcasts, so this is my normal state. Yeah, basically, I think Jeff should get more credit than the writers of the show do. I think it's clear that he gets a certain amount of information that I think is more than the audience knows, but not to the point that he knows everything, obviously, and he's not in the writer's room. And also the problem is he's definitely given all that information before they actually write everything for each volume. And so he's given these concepts, and he comes up with these, I would argue, for the most part, fairly deep and interesting explorations of these characters that a lot of times are way more interesting than what we end up getting. Again, like Boop sets up Ren and Nora's entire character arc. The writers do follow up on pretty much everything Jeff says in Boop through Volume 4, which again, that's why I'm a Renora shipper, is Boop gave us all these clues as to what Ren and Nora's deep and really beautiful relationship is, and up through Volume 4, the writers actually followed through on that. When the writers follow up on what Jeff says, it works out really well. The writers do generally follow up on what Jeff says about Weiss, and that works really well too, because Weiss is probably the deepest and most interesting and mature character in the show, even though the writers literally say in the Volume 5 commentary track that Blake is the most mature character in the show, which is fucking bullshit, by the way. I think we all know that Weiss is actually the most mature character in the show. So this is why, if you're wondering why I'm glazing Jeff so much, and why I criticize the writers of the show so much, most of the time what Jeff says is going to happen with the characters in his songs. When it's fulfilled, that's the best stuff in the show. Renora through Volume 4, some of the best writing in the show. Weiss's character throughout the entire series, the best writing in the show. RWBY's shit that she goes through in Volume 9, the best volume in the show. That's the stuff that Jeff was hinting at since Volume 1. All the stuff that Jeff hints at, that is followed through on, is the best stuff in the fucking show. Besides the apathy arc. That's a completely separate thing, but that's a rare exception. This is why every time Jeff hints at something that isn't followed through on, I take Jeff's side, because when they do follow through on his promises, it's the best parts of the show. So when they don't follow through, I'm not going to blame him. I'm going to blame the writers, because clearly they told him something that they didn't follow through on, because we know through watching the show, anybody who's watched the show knows, the writers are the ones that don't follow through on their own promises. So this is why I give Jeff the benefit of the doubt. So that's why I'm always on Jeff's side for all of these things. So I hope that makes sense. Whether you agree with me or not, I think I'm at least logically consistent with that.
So the next song is Not Fall in Love With You.
Oh god, this song fucking sucks.
My least favorite song on the soundtrack, probably my least favorite song in all of RWBY. Okay, I understand Son feels the way he does about Blake, but I don't. And he's not selling it. He's not very convincing
really not.
in the song.
Yeah, he's not.
He's lying. Like, he is trying to gaslight you. You're the one, you're crazy and cool, you totally rock.
He's gaslighting himself. He's not gaslighting us. He's gaslighting his own ass. Because he just wants the Bella booty.
You are the one who sweeps me off my feet. Fucking when?
When? Yeah, when does that fucking happen? Okay. So, I just got done glazing the shit out of Jeff Williams, right? Well, that's a perfect transition into what is by far the worst song he's ever written, in my opinion. This song fucking sucks.
It's just so clunky.
It's so bad.
It's hard to actually, even read off these lyrics. What am I supposed to do? Just sit here and not fall in love with you? Can I do anything to conceal it? It doesn't flow together well, and also Blake just sucks.
Blake, yeah, but even if it wasn't that's the thing. Yes, it is made worse by the fact that Blake actually sucks. Okay, but there's so many super generic lyrics because And in fairness to Jeff, what the fuck else is he supposed to say? How is he supposed to make Blake seem appealing? The writers probably told him, okay, so this fucking cool-ass fucking guy with an 8-pack, voiced by Michael Jones dude, with wearing fucking Puma sneakers and exposing his fucking midriff, and wearing a studded belt, and he is a badass, and he's cool, and everybody likes him. He's in love with this, like, mopey, droopy, hypocritical bitch. He's just, like, the worst character in the show. Sell that for us, please. And Jeff's probably just sitting there like, how? And yeah, he tries. And in fairness, again, I will talk shit on Jeff. He fails spectacularly. This song fucking sucks. You are my star. You are the one. Oh my God. Can we get more cheesy and dramatic? You make me smile when the world's come undone. When has Sun's world ever come undone?
Yeah, literally the only bad thing to happen to Sun is being stuck with Blake on Volume 4 and 5.
And this is a Volume 3 song. This isn't even a Volume 4 song. So what the fuck?
Like, Blake has never actually helped Sun.
No.
And that kind of sucks for her.
It does. It does. If there's one big argument in favor of Bumblebee, it's the fact that Sun is too good for Blake, which was always my argument against Black Sun. I'm not anti-Black Sun, by the way. I love Sun. I'm not super anti that ship, by the way. I've said this before. I think that ship should have happened even if it happened before Bumblebee happening. The way they had Sun just walk out for no reason was fucking retarded. Because we are actually allowed to say that on this channel, because that word is not actually a bad word, you assholes. This song is really, you can't defend this song. And what is a PYT?
Pretty young thing.
God, that sounds so awkward. They're the same age. Also, can I point that out? That doesn't make any fucking sense. No other girl could compete with your esprit? Jeez, what the fuck? Like, I have a master's degree. I don't know what the fuck that word is. Like, I'm not that dumb. I'm not saying I'm the smartest person on the planet. I'm definitely not. But I'm not so dumb that, like, I should be confused by the lyrics of this lame-ass pop song.
So, apparently esprit is, like, a French word for liveliness.
Oh, so that describes Blake perfectly. Great choice of lyric there.
The only thing that this has that relates to Blake is the fact that they're French.
Fuck off. Fuck all the way off with this shit.
No, I actually, so a little bit of a tangent. I actually made a post on Twitter a little while ago, being like, I'm doing the One Piece thing where, like, oh, what if the RWBY characters were from real world countries? Where would they be? Like, obviously, RWBY would be like half German, part Asian, like at least a quarter Asian, because Tai would probably be
she would just
half
be
Asian, half blonde.
RWBY is literally the Axis power. She's just Japan and Germany.
Yeah. Weiss is full-blooded German.
Oh my God, yes.
And Blake, because of the name Belladonna, I was like, she would be French. And someone replied,
she runs away from everything. She has to be French. And by the way, she's supposed to be wearing black all the time, but she wears white a lot. She really loves waving the white flag quite often. So she's definitely French. She has the most ships as well. Jesus Christ, yeah. She is so French. It's crazy. Holy shit.
So someone replied, Hero Darky Dark, who is another, like, within the indie writer sphere. He replied, "When I know you made Blake French because she's the worst in the group, but I just can't prove it." And it's that fucking meme picture of the black guy. I don't know what show he's from, but apparently it's a popular show because I've seen
I've
this
seen
dude
before.
in different memes all over the internet lately.
It's a great meme.
But no, I did make her French because she's the worst. She is the worst, but not because she's French, or at least that's not why I made her French. I made her French because Belladonna, Bella is a French word, and she's supposed to be Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast was a French fairy tale.
And she runs away, and she wears a lot of white. It does fit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's really rude. It does fit. That does actually fit. And also just musically, this song sucks. It's not catchy. I love when Jeff does, like, some pop stuff and some disco stuff, but this one's just like a bad pop song, and it doesn't sound like anything. It's super generic. It's not catchy. It's fucking atrocious. I fucking hate this song. I wish it wasn't on the soundtrack. I wish it didn't exist. I never want to listen to it again. There is literally nothing redeeming about this song. Yeah, so this song sucks. Let's talk about my second favorite song of the first 3 volumes, Neon. Fucking love this song. It's a fucking bop.
It is my second favorite on this soundtrack. Although, I will say, out of all the RWBY songs, this is probably the one I respect the most.
Oh yeah, no, this is one of Jeff's best songs.
Techno jazz is a fucking choice.
It is a fucking choice, and he knocks it out of the park. Actually, no, this actually I have second of the volume 1 through 3 songs, only to Red Like Roses Part 2. And in terms of personal favorites, this is my personal favorite. Neon is fucking incredible. This is the song, like, if I'm going to put a RWBY song on just to listen to for just being like a catchy, incredible pop song, or like the song that I am most likely to put in a mix or playlist of other songs, Neon is number 1. Out of the entire soundtrack of all 9 volumes, Neon is number 1. I fucking love this song. The hook is so goddamn catchy. The do-do-do. It's and that like that blend of having all the fucking synthesizers and then the horns, that combination of disco and rave at the same time. It's like Neon's rave roller disco girl aesthetic is matched so perfectly by the song, and then the song works musically on top of matching this wacko ass character that the writers came up with. How did Jeff pull that off? That's the crazy thing. And the lyrics are also absolutely fucking fantastic with this song.
Neon's such a little shit. I actually kind of like the character a lot. I wish he was in the show more.
They're so fucking catty.
They are someone that they talk so much shit for the love of the game, man.
Yeah.
And I respect that. She has no beef with Yang. She doesn't dislike Yang or have a
She's never met Yang.
She's just saying that just to piss Yang off.
Yeah.
I love that for her. Just like another one of my favorite cat-based characters, Grimjow Jaggerjack from Bleach, where he's just in the 1,000-year blood war for the love of the game. He ain't got any goals or plans or anything to do there. He's just there to cause as much chaos and bloodshed just for the fucking hell of it.
She's never met Yang before, and all she does is fucking talk shit, because that's her personality. Like, oh, you're a bit pop heavy. Like, she's literally just analyzed her for half a second. Is like, haha.
The whole, like, first bit of that fight is her, like, trying to figure out what's going to make Yang mad.
Which then she doesn't realize that's exactly what helps Yang in this situation. But the lyrics, again, fucking hilarious. I bet it's hard to live with knowing that you'll never be this fine. Don't be distraught, don't be sad, you gave it your best try. It's so fucking petty and condescending. Like, listen, girlfriend, can't you see? I'm all of the things that you'll never be. I'm cool like the rain, yet I'm hot like the sun. I'm a neon rainbow, and you're no fun. The best will climb to the top like me, the rest will end up like you. I bet it's hard to live with knowing that you'll never be this fine. Try it, you'll see, just be more like me. just be more like me. That's the solution to everything. Like, it's fucking funny, and it does fit the character's personality in the show, and when it manages to line up, it does make it work better. And also, it's catchy as shit. The lyrics fit with the song, the lyrics fit with the character, the song fits with the character, the song and the lyrics fit with the fight scene that happens, and it's a great blend of instrumentation. It has the horns blended with the synths. It could not be a better version of itself. This song is the ultimate version of itself that it could possibly be. I cannot think of anything that could have made this a more successful song. Not only is this a song I can listen to on its own as catchy as shit, and catchier than a lot of other like pop songs and popular songs that I listen to. I will listen to the song more often than a lot of those other songs. But also, lyrically, it's hilarious and fits the show. And just musicality-wise and theme-wise, it perfectly fits the show. It's brilliant within the show, and it's brilliant outside of the show. This almost completely washes the awful taste of Not Fall in Love with You out of my mouth. That's how good this song is.
So next up is Mirror Mirror Part 2. Another one where, like, it's good. I like it. I don't know the last time that I've listened to the song just on its own. I've only ever listened to this either because I'm listening to Volume 3 soundtrack, front to back, or I'm listening to all the RWBY songs, front to back. And this is just kind of stuck in the middle. I actually had to look up to see, like, where this song ends, because I've listened to the song in the middle of the Weiss, playlist so often. The one I found, the one that's on my writing playlist, it blends so seamlessly into This Life Is Mine that I had to remind myself, where Mirror Mirror Part 2 ends and This Life Is Mine begins.
That's almost a compliment to Mirror Mirror Part 2, though, to be honest.
And This Life Is Mine.
Yes, no, I agree.
They fit together so well. This is the moment where, Weiss finally figures out what she's doing.
I have it 4th on my list for this volume. In terms of the whole soundtrack for all 3 soundtracks, I have it slightly above the middle, and that's because lyrically, it's fantastic. I think lyrically it's very good, because it does perfectly capture Weiss. I love that this song acknowledges Weiss's wealth and privilege. I think that's actually very important to do to prevent her from being completely unrelatable. I think that's huge. I think it's very important to acknowledge for Weiss in this song, because I guess canonically she's supposed to be singing it, or she's supposed to be saying this, because not only is she a singer, but this is written in first person point of view. She points out, yeah, I've been raised in a very privileged position. I had everything technically that I would have needed. It says, who am I to complain? My life's been spared so much pain. Born with all that I need, my comfort's all guaranteed. So what's the problem? What's keeping me from moving forward? It's hard to see. I think that's great, because it acknowledges that, yeah, she does have a lot of things that other people will never have, and she acknowledges that. I think that's critical. I think that's a great thing that Jeff put that in there.
And then it follows it up with, I should be free now, I should be fine, but the life I fought for still isn't mine. Because, at this point in the story, throughout the Beacon arc, she's out of Jacques' house, but she's not out from under Jacques' thumb. He still has a stranglehold, specifically over her finances and over her financial future. What has she learned in Beacon? That's something Winter actually brings up in this very same scene. What have you learned? What have you done? How have you improved? Have you actually, gotten strong enough to where you can stand on your own 2 feet? She hasn't, or at least she feels like she hasn't at this point, which is why it then goes into the bridge. Some believe in fairy stories and the ghost that you can't see. I know that I can do so much if I could just believe in me.
Yeah, believing in herself versus believing in her family and the power that her family and father has. That's how she starts out the series of the show, is relying on the power of her family name and relying on the power of the Schnee Dust Company and relying on the power of her dad, versus as she progresses throughout the story, she relies only on herself and her friends. This is what makes Weiss's arc the best part of the show, is that not only does she choose her friends, she gives up all of her wealth. She's got nothing technically as of right now on the show. And as of volume 4, throughout the rest of the show, she's probably more broke than any other of the main characters. She's more broke than anybody, because technically Blake has the fucking leader of Menagerie as her dad. Nora and Ren have less than everybody else because they're fucking orphans. But Weiss is equal with them basically at this point, because RWBY and Yang have a father and they technically have a house to go back to. Weiss technically has nothing. She has lowered herself to the level of everybody else, to her allies and everything else. And this is the song where she basically starts to do that, because I like how this song actually lyrically has her transition from bit by bit now, a step each day, I'm slowly starting to find my way. And a mirror, mirror, I'll tell you something, I think I might change it all. And I like that at this point in the story, in volume 3, she hasn't actually changed anything. It's just her starting to believe in herself. And that's such a perfect setup for volume 4 Weiss, which is when she actually goes through all those changes. And I think that's the thing that makes Weiss a great character. Genuinely a great character regardless of any series. She's arguably the only, I would argue she's the only one that puts herself up against characters from other better series, because she actually puts her money where her mouth is, and she gives up all the money and privilege she has and brings herself down to the level of wealth and privilege that everybody else has. She is now a fucking nobody with no goddamn money. She only has the income from being a huntress at that point, which is, as far as we can tell, a relatively normal but glamorous job.
Well, and something that Weiss, her whole character arc kind of addresses, and something that I think is kind of important to consider in this day and age, which is that, even though she is broke, she's still blessed. She's still got her friends, she's still got her training, her education, and a busted as fuck semblance that she was born with.
Yeah, a busted semblance. One of the 3 most busted semblances.
This whole idea of privilege is something that, a lot of people dwell on to a very, toxic level. And it's something that, you kind of have to take for granted. Because at the end of the day, we're all blessed by the horrors of the past. molasses to rum to slaves, as the song goes in 1776. Even those who hated slavery and wished for abolishment from day one, even they benefited from it to some degree. Like, everyone, as horrible as that was, as horrifying as slavery was, civilization was more or less built on it. And Weiss, she's building it back from the ground up, but there's still going to always be this layer underneath that ground of, like, the horrors that Jacques committed, or, Schnees in the past. We know Nicholas was a good dude, but what about before Nicholas? Or are the Schnees like before him? We don't know.
We don't know how much bad things Nicholas may have done as well, too.
Yeah, she could have the rose-tinted glasses on with him. We just know that he wasn't as big of a dick as Jacques. Because he actually, went to the mines and fought the monsters to protect the miners himself. We know that he at least did that.
Doesn't mean he gave the miners healthcare coverage or whatever. We don't know. Or a pension. Maybe he did. I'd like to think that he did.
Historically, that's actually grounds to give them less. You don't need insurance if you're never going to file a claim.
Back to the song, I do think it's nice to see that she's actually transitioning to trying to be a better person. And then, again, one of the best things about the show is that she actually follows through on that. She puts her money where her mouth is. She does lower herself down to the level of everybody else as much as she can, basically. And this is the start of that. So lyrically, it's really good. Musically, it's pretty good. It's fine. It's got a good melody, but it's a bit slow. It's not the most amazing musical song in terms of the show, but I still think it's pretty good. And I like it, and I think it does fit within the trilogy. Again, yes, does it help that Weiss is the best character in the show, objectively speaking? Yes, it does. And that the fact that the lyrics of Jeff's songs match up so well with what she does in the show? Yeah, but hey, that's great. It's really nice that we have that. That makes her character better. That makes the show better. That she gets these good songs that match up with her character arc, and then she actually follows through with it in the show. Nice, that's good. As much as you can hate on the show, which you rightfully can, it's nice that happens.
Alright, and now time for my favorite song from the Volume 3 soundtrack, Divide.
It's funny that we both had the same top two. This is the one where I was alluding to previously, where I said you can have a song that if you don't know anything about the show, it might just sound like another generic butt rock song. But this song's a fucking masterpiece. I'm sorry. You actually listen to the song as a whole. Actually, this is where, if you call this a generic butt rock song, you're just fucking stupid. I'm sorry. You're wrong and you're stupid. And you should feel bad. Because this song has so many more elements to it than just rock. It's very cinematic. There's a lot of strings added to it. It actually has a pretty groovy beat in certain parts of it, especially for such a heavy song. It is so much better than a lot of the other rock songs in this series. It fits with the lyrics very well, and the lyrics do fit with what happens to Beacon and with Ozpin failing and all his tools failing as well. The song feels fucking massive, and it feels like such an oppressive force, which is how Salem is supposed to feel. I also love the creepy light piano bridge and the ominous sounding singing on top of that. Like the send your guardians, watch that. Then in battle, watch them fall. Like, that's creepy. And that's such a great break from the otherwise like heavy rock music that happens in this song, right? Like, sacrifice them for your needs. That's exactly what Ozpin does. And then another quote, these children you mislead, you'll watch them all bleed. Have you no shame in signing them up for war? That's, again, completely accurate to what fucking Ozpin does. He's a piece of shit.
And I wish they'd lean more into this as, like, motivation for Salem. I think I've brought this up before. We don't actually 100% know what Salem's goal is. We assume that it's just to destroy everything, because that's kind of what's gonna happen if all the relics are brought together. That's kind of what she's wanting to do. And Tyrion confirms that. Is that actually what she's going to do? Or is that does she know that's going to happen? Like, how much does she actually know about the relics and what's going to happen? And how much of it is just her telling that because that's what Tyrion wants to hear?
No, that's part of the problem with the show. She wants to die. That's part of the problem with the show, is the vagueness of Salem's motivations, in fairness. Like, we get all this stupid-ass backstory, and I still fucking hate the backstory of Salem and Ozpin. Like, ugh, it partly ruins the show for me. I've talked about this before, so I won't talk about it more, but that is part of the issue. But this song, in its context, at the time, it works. Also, that creepy ass melody and harmony of divide them, and I'm singing in the wrong key, I know, but I'm not a singer, okay? That delivery of the harmony of that is fucking awesome. It fits so well. It's creepy. It sounds big and epic. And this song is more accurate to Ozpin than anything else in the show in terms of describing him and why he's a piece of shit. And I know, in fairness, like, the writers do kind of acknowledge that he's not the best guy, right? But they don't acknowledge enough of how shitty he is. And I still think, for the show, it would have been better if we didn't have this Salem Ozpin backstory and if Ozpin had stayed dead and if it was just the kid, the main kids. It's not kids anymore. I keep making the mistake of saying kids. They're like 20 now, okay? Everybody besides Ruby is 20 and she's like 18 now. The main characters, they should have more independence. I've said that the whole time, but this at least fits with the Ozpin that we know, the problems with Ozpin, and the Salem that we got to understand at the time. This all fits. And again, kind of promises something cooler than what we actually got, because, like, as media said, if we got more thematic elements to Ozpin and Salem that were along these lines, with that fit more into Ozpin being maybe not the best guy, that would have been a lot better for the show than having Ozpin still kind of being a piece of shit, but like we still are supposed to see him as clearly the good guy of the two. It doesn't really fit that well, and it makes it kind of awkward, especially not knowing what Salem's plan is. This song is much better than what we actually get in the show. This is another perfect example of that. This song's a fucking banger. It's fucking fantastic.
I like how, like, it's not just from someone's perspective, it's directed to someone. And has a lot of, like, allusions to things that we kind of already suspected by this point, but it's just been further confirmed now. That Ozpin has no real plan and that everything is just a band-aid on the wound. Without actually, like, curing what ails ya.
Like, it would be okay. I think the show would be better if we just knew that Salem's plan was to just destroy the world or something like that. Or for her to kill all of humanity or something like that, even if that's really generic. Because in Avatar: The Last Airbender, the villain's goal is really generic. That's okay, because in real life, a lot of evil people's goals are really generic. It's just power for the sake of power. That's what Hitler's goal was. That's what Stalin's goal was. That's what Mao's goal was. That's what Firelord Ozai's goal was. That's not complicated. If we just knew that Salem's goal was to just conquer everything, like if she just wanted to put everybody under her thumb, or just turn everybody into Grimm or something like that, that would be better than what we have now, because we don't actually know what she wants. We're not clear if she wants to control everything, if she wants to destroy the world, and it would be better even if she had a generic motivation, because again, the most evil people in history have generic motivations. That's fine. What was Sauron's goal? Lord of the Rings is one of the best series ever written, and one of the best film series of all time. His goal was to just conquer the world, basically. Or conquer Middle-earth, at least.
Like, that's such a generic motivation, but it works so well because the narcissist / like egomaniacs, megalomaniacal people, they truly believe that the world will just work better if they were in charge of everything. Like, that's a big thing with Doctor Doom in Marvel Comics and with Lex Luthor in DC Comics. And I think that's kind of where Trump is as well. Like, I don't even necessarily... I completely disagree with Dude that it's, like, corrupt or evil or power for the sake of power. But, like, I do think Trump legitimately believes that everything would just run smoother if he just took over everything. If everything just went the way he wants it to.
I am more left-wing than anybody else on this podcast, but I am not super left-wing. I've always been kind of more of an independent libertarian. Like, just leave us the fuck alone and let's do whatever we want kind of person. I've always hated Trump since the early 2000s. He has switched party memberships back and forth. I don't see him as a Republican, just for the record. I just see him as
me neither,
somebody...
but I don't like Republicans, so
yeah,
that's actually what won me over.
Yeah, well...
But, you know, I was gonna toot my Ruby On horn. So, in Ruby On, Salem wants to rule the world because she was Ozpin's wife, the original wife of the original Ozpin, and she saw his inaction when it came to the Grimoire, who are the super powerful sentient Grimm, the father of all the modern Grimm. She believed that, like, if all the maidens and all the, like, Silver-Eyed Warriors and stuff, like, formed a unified front, that they could take down the Grimm once and for all. And Ozpin told her, like, no, that would be, war, and that's not a war that, even if we could win, we'd only win at a great cost. So Salem, like, systematically takes all the maiden powers. She was originally the apprentice of the original Winter Maiden, so she stole the Winter Maiden's powers, and then took summer, fall, and then finally spring, and then tried to, like, solo the grimoire, started getting her ass kicked, and then Ozpin and all the Silver-Eyed Warriors and a bunch of other people showed up, and they won. They actually won, which just proved Salem right. And she was never able to live that down, especially when Ozpin saved her life in a way that rendered her effectively immortal. And so it was Ozpin that cursed her to the never-ending existence, and also Salem felt like she was right, and that if she could just get Ozpin out of the way and just do things herself and take over herself, then everything would be fine. And that's her motivation throughout, her bits and RWBY Beyond.
That's one of the biggest problems with the show, I feel like. Especially when they do the reveal of her in Volume 6, which, God, at this point, like, that was kind of not even surprising, to be honest. And then you have the stuff where the gods treat Salem like shit. At that point, kind of like slightly more sympathetic toward her. But then she's also such an asshole. You guys gotta pick something. Well, they kind of give her a motivation, but they don't give her a clear goal. Like, we know she wants to collect all the relics, but why? I'm sorry. Like, I'm a history teacher. Why is the number one most important question in the world? Why matters more than anything else? And the writers just skip over that. I don't know what this has to do with the song anymore at this point, but like, okay, here's my answer. The song basically tells us her goal is to divide everybody and sow chaos so she can win. That's great. Later on the show, we should figure out why she wants to divide everybody so she can win. What does winning entail for her? Divide does a great job of telling us that she wants to sow chaos. She wants people to disagree. She wants people to be divided in terms of ideals and beliefs, which is actually how America is right now, unfortunately. But why? And what is her end goal with that? And it's fine that Divide doesn't answer that, because it's only in Volume 3. That's our introduction to Salem. That's okay.
Yeah, we literally only have one shot of her, and then this is the song that plays over the credits, or at least the first half of the credits.
We should get that answer. We're going to get Volume 10, and we still haven't gotten that answer. Does she want to die? Because she might. She might just want to die. She might just want to get out of this shit. Which I would understand. Like, people think of, like, immortality as a great thing. You can also think of immortality as a curse. Like, immortality is not necessarily a good thing. Living forever is not necessarily a good thing.
Yep, I read Tuck Everlasting.
Yeah, you want to get really philosophical about it. The concept of heaven, eternal joining with a great spirit that is God, could either sound wonderful and great, but could also sound terrifying, because it could also mean that you lose your consciousness. So, depending on your philosophy, it's either wonderful or it's fucking frightening as all hell. It's the most existential crisis.
Yeah, I can't remember who said it. Was some philosopher said a long time ago that, like, there are only two possibilities in this world. Either God exists or God doesn't exist. And they are both terrifying.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, they're both terrifying. I completely agree with that. So, but the thing is, we still don't have an answer for Salem. Does she want to die? Does she want to control the world? Does she want to destroy the world? Does she want to go down with the ship? Does she want to rule everybody and control everybody? I don't know. My guess is she wants to bring the gods back so she can finally die. That seems the most likely, but it's not clear, and the way she acts within the show, that's not what it seems like. It seems like she wants to control and kill everybody. It doesn't seem like she wants to, actually, honestly, it doesn't even seem like she wants to control everybody. It just seems like she wants to kill everybody. It seems like the way she's acting, it seems like she just wants to be the last person left on Earth.
Which is fine, but then it's like, why do any of these people follow her?
Because again, you don't need a complex villain to make a great story. All these real-life evil people have the same goal of just controlling things. You don't need more than that. That's scary enough, okay? Our government is trying to control, like, what we consume online right now, and it's not even it's a bipartisan thing. We just had acts enacted within certain states where you have to literally give your information. You have to create, like, a digital ID to be able to watch any 18 plus content. And they can say all they want that that's to protect kids, but you know goddamn well that that's not to protect kids. That's to fucking control our actions. That's to control all of us. And that's not a conspiracy theory.
Protecting kids and stuff should be the job of the parents, not the government. Because all the government is going to do is take that personal information and sell it to fucking China or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a bipartisan thing, because you have left-wing people that are also actually weirdly conservative in terms of like what they think is socially acceptable, right? And then you also have right-wing people who are like ultra-conservative Christians that are like, oh, but that's not morally acceptable. Pornography is evil, so I don't like it, so I don't want it. And fuck those people. Like, they don't realize how similar they both are. Fucking horseshoe theory is the most accurate thing ever. I don't care what anybody says. Horseshoe theory is accurate.
It's accurate, but not for the reasons.
Yes, exactly. But
the actual truth of the matter is that we don't have an actual legit conservative party in this country, and most countries don't.
Yes, most countries don't. That is actually true. But weirdly, America is weirdly conservative right now in a lot of different ways. Even our left-wing parties are weirdly conservative without admitting they're conservative, in a very strange way of controlling people's actions and thoughts right now. And the EU. And
I think that is a byproduct of millennials starting to get more jobs in Congress and stuff.
I think it's Gen Z is the most conservative.
Yes, but
Socially.
I'm saying that the baby boomers are all dying off now, and they were like the super liberal hippie ass like they're the ones who brought us to, like, you know, I don't like using the term woke, but they're the ones who, like, you know, ushered in the woke era of politics. It was all the boomers, and it's the millennials and Gen Zers that are becoming more, like, puritanical and stuff.
They are. No, it's weird, because, like, boomers, although they ended up being conservative, like, fiscally, in a lot of ways, they were, like, very open in terms of what people are allowed to do, because they were hippies. The other thing is what both sides don't realize is both Democrats and Republicans right now, they're both sensitive as fuck. They both can't take a joke. They both say, like, Republicans will say, oh, Democrats have no sense of humor. And then Democrats are like, Republicans have no sense of humor. You fucking both don't have a sense of humor, because you're both being so fucking conservative that, like, you're so afraid to say anything at all. And the only people that are, like, willing to just say whatever the fuck they want are the old school anime fans, who will call all the new anime fans tourists. It's true.
Yes.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yes, they are.
I'm going to say this right now.
I can't believe that this is the conversation we're having about fucking Divide.
I'm going to say this right now.
I love this podcast.
Not that I am one, but I've seen this on Twitter now. I'm ringing the lolicons were right bell right now, because those fuckers are the first people to ever warn anybody about when all of our rights are in question. And whether or not you agree with their tastes, they are correct in pointing out when human rights in general and freedom of expression and your privacy as a person is under attack. And
this is a drum I've been banging. One of the reasons why I haven't, like, cut you off or tried to get us back on, because this is a drum that I've been banging on my live show. The situation with, you know, the bans happening and restrictions on the internet happening. It's not just America. It's actually worse in places like the UK and Australia and stuff.
The UK is fucked. The UK doesn't have access to hentai right now. Thank God I'm in the state that I'm in, because I'm in a state that's, like, genuinely liberal, like old school liberal, like almost libertarian in the way they deal with these kind of social issues of just, like, letting people alone. Thank fuck that I'm in one of those states. Because if you're in certain other states, you don't have the rights that you used to have to your privacy and your freedom of anonymity that you used to be able to have. That should be a basic fucking human right for any human being, regardless of political party. Again, this is a fully bipartisan issue.
Yeah, I mean, we are just barely old enough to remember, like, the .com boom and everyone being like, don't put your personal information on the internet. Don't ever do that. Because it's just up there in the cloud and anyone can hack into it. And then, for some dumb fuck reason, people just kind of forgot about that. And then, oops, all of our private information just got leaked to China. If only 25 years ago someone warned us about this, if only that prevailing wisdom of yesteryear had been maintained instead of dying at the feet of progress. Anyway, we got one more song to talk about, and it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
It's cold.
Yeah, it's whatever. It's fine.
It's the Pyrrha funeral ballad.
Again, let it not be said that I my biases are playing a huge role here. I know anybody who hears me talk about Boop will think that, but don't forget, it is Jeff Williams' favorite song as well, okay? But anyway, I actually like Cold, that's my point. Like, I am not an Arcos shipper. I don't really like Arcos very much. In fact, I kind of dislike it in a lot of ways. And I don't really like Pyrrha very much. But I actually think Cold is one of the better ballads that Jeff has done. And I'm not the biggest fan of his ballads for the most part. Like, I think his best slow song of all time is not actually a ballad. We'll talk about it in a future podcast. But this one I think is actually pretty good, honestly. I think the melody, that little piano riff that he does that also plays into like the actual singing melody, is quite good. I think the chorus is hauntingly beautiful. I actually think it might be his best pure ballad chorus. It's either this one or Home. I do like Home in that that's in volume 4. We'll talk about that one. I like that one overall more, but the Cold chorus is very good, and I do think the lyrics are solid. Fits Jean and his relationship with Pyrrha well, because I like that it doesn't necessarily try to tease romance where it isn't necessarily there. And again, I'm not trying to say the whole thing is Jean doesn't know how he felt, right? He never had time to figure it out, and that's the tragedy. That's the tragedy of Arcos. That part of Arcos I like, because I like that we never figured it out. And I like how this song sticks with that, basically. I think the verse melody is a little too slow. I do like the riff, but like it does feel too slow. But the chorus is I think the chorus is very good on this one. So I like it. I think this is a very solid one. It's a good ending song. Like, my numbers for this volume are fairly low, and that's very largely in part because Not Fall in Love is so bad. But like, in terms of how much I enjoy this volume, I actually do like this one a lot. And actually, is this the only ballad so far? Because he has a lot of ballads later on.
All Our Days in volume 2. Yeah.
Oh, All Our Days. There we go. This one's way better than all. I knew there. I forgot. Yeah.
And Wings, the song that you forgot about, which this actually does remind me a lot of. I actually think
This is better than Wings. This is better than Wings.
Musically, yes.
Yes. I know this because I have faint memories of Wings. I forgot it was on Now. You tell me, but I was like, okay, yeah, I kind of remember that. It's definitely better. If I forgot about it, it's not that good, because all the good songs, like, I remember at least what their names were. I would have looked for it, and it's definitely better than All Our Days. So of the first 3 ballads, this is the best one.
Yeah, I just kind of like the character specific details of Wings. I do think that just Blake and Weiss is a woefully underdeveloped relationship. Like, with their backstory and their baggage and their character arcs, you can build an entire story around them, but then they get, like, fuck all to do together after volume 1. Whereas Arcos with Cold, there's other Arcos ballad songs. I do think this is the best of them, but it is one of those things that it's not super special. Like, we don't have another monochrome song other than Wings, whereas we have 4 or 5 Arcos songs. And yeah, I do like this song.
Yeah, it's good. I think it's very good, actually. It's a pretty decent note to go out on for the first 3 volumes.
All right, I'm going to wrap it up here then.
So, I hope you enjoyed our podcast on the RWBY Volume 1 through 3 soundtrack. Well, we went for 3 hours it's an hour per volume. Yeah, that works perfectly fine. And we'll get to the next one probably within the next week or so, I would hope. It's probably going to be Media and I for all the soundtrack ones, because we're the only people insane enough to actually put all the time in to analyzing this shit, which is fine. I don't blame Cooper or High Powered for. Also, High Powered's work schedule is insane. I'm lucky enough that my work schedule is very, very fucking normal, and fine. We have the soundtrack, so next we'll have volume 4 through 6. Then we have 7 through 9. If you guys want to leave comments, anybody who's fucking made it this far, if you've made it this far and you want to make the suggestions, please do, and we might listen to you, because if you've made it this far, you're a real one. What we have technically next on the docket is the next soundtracks, which we will do those next. And then we have each individual volume retrospective. Volumes 1 through 9. We'll spend a podcast each on those, because let's be honest, it's going to take a while to get to volume 10. But then we also have another shipping video, if you want to hear our updated takes on shipping, we could do that before we get to the volume retrospectives. Which, please somebody comment that, because I'd actually like to do that before. I have nothing to plug. Read Media's books. I'm reading them soon after I get through fucking Alia. But I'm kind of stuck on Alia because those fucking pussies are too slow to make any development and all that shit. And I wish they would go faster. It's a great story, and they're awesome, and I'm buying all the fucking Alia fucking figures that I can, but because Momoko's art is fucking peak, man. But they need to fucking fuck already. So I haven't read Media's book yet, but I'm going to. It's the next thing on my list after I read through the Alia series. So buy Media's book.
Thank you all for watching. Join us next time when we talk about the volumes 4 through 6 soundtrack. I'm Mediocrity4. Thanks for watching.